All right. I got great news.
Okay.
I found a good random video with an opener. So I'm going to send you that. And then I'm going to go brush my teeth real quick.
Okay.
Oh, no, I sent it in the comments. That's fine. I'll send it in the private chat. Sorry.
People can watch along with us. Someone was here to hear that. I apologize. I was going to say Chinese, but that would be wrong. This is Japanese. Something in Japan. No clue. They're going to be jumping animals. I'm going to guess rats. Give me PTSD from Japanese train stations. Not knowing what the fuck they're saying and trying to figure out where to go, that was interesting. Oh my god, they're racing rabbits. That's hilarious. Fun. The number. This is what John gave me, guys. Thank you. The way they blend syllables, I can't do it. I really need to learn. Not that way, rabbit. Go the jump way. Go on, do the jump. You suck. You're shit. You're shit. This is hilarious. That sucked. Boo, shit rabbit. Call yourself a rabbit? That's fucking funny as. I don't know why John gave me this. He's off doing something. Its name is Ten. I get to go back. Nice. Oh, made it. Nice. Yes.
This
Boo.
is what people want to see.
Fuck yeah, this is great.
This is what they came for, bro.
This is so funny. Rabbit hopping association. That's so funny. Only in Japan would this happen. Instead of stealing public utilities, this is what the 40-year-old women in Japan do. And apparently a guy.
This one's the best one, man.
Jump it, you stupid rabbit. It just stepped over it. This is the slowest one. Jesus Christ.
The first time this rabbit has ever jumped, it's learning so fast.
The announcer's like, hurry up, please. Everything has to be assisted.
ってブラックだけじゃないのと思われる方もいらっしゃると思うんですけれども、他にもブルーのカラーですとか、ライラック、チョコレートカラーなど、
Taking its time.
意外とラッチカラーのラッチのうさちゃんもカラーリングがそれぞれあって、それぞれこう違う星があって。
It did better than the last one. There you go. Killing it. Way better than the last one. Guy needs to train his rabbits better.
He moved the post. That's cheating.
It's going to be a struggle getting him back. They're funny creatures, aren't they, rabbits?
Oh, I fucking hate them.
They're asshole creatures.
Bro, I've lived with 2 rabbits, and they destroyed all my shit. And my roommates would not, like, do anything about it.
コースの準備ができたようですので、ココちゃんの準備が整い次第お願いいたします。用意、スタート。
You see how it's rubbing its chin?
Yeah.
That's how rabbits like mark their territory, so it's trying to claim this as its, so it's more concerned about being like, this is mine, other rabbits. Okay? But like the rabbits that I lived with, that people's shoes would be on like the mat, and it would come out and it would just put its chin all over people's shoes and poop everywhere, all over people's shoes.
Awesome. Yeah. Love that.
What a worthless animal.
That's why they're low on the tier list.
Like the main reason why they... Now you're going to eat your own poop? Come on, bro. You're going the wrong way. You stupid bunny. You stupid bunny. The only reason why they're successful is just because they put all their skill points into fucking. You see, he's marking on this stuff. He's more concerned about letting other rabbits know he was here. Now he's cleaning himself.
Bath time, baby.
It's like, you know, when you have a Pokemon that doesn't obey?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Thank God it's over. And now
I go again, right? It says fucking. It's literally like the worst rabbit.
It's gonna claw the shit out of him.
Bro, their claws are fucking huge.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, get back in that fucking crate, you cretin.
Don't you jump that.
Yes, bit of scrubbing. Love it.
They're
fucking
cleaning, they have to clean its scent off, I assume. Or a pee.
The white one.
Bro. These little...
The white one, obviously
these little
the superior
European
one.
dwarf ones are like so agile and like they just want to jump over shit. Go ahead, buddy. Yeah, you got it. Look, you did better.
It already wants to go back.
Man. This dude is into it.
Yeah, it's because it's
That's
white,
the trick, dude.
obviously.
You gotta fucking shove him between your legs. He fucked up. He'll pull it. Yeah, keep him in your legs.
Why? Does it calm him down, does it?
No, I just think you need to pin him to the ground so they shut the fuck up. These ones are cute, though.
Yeah, they're...
It's the big
Racing.
floppy ones that trigger me. They're fucking dumb and don't do anything. Just destroy shit and poop on people's shoes.
Off you guys.
Nailed it. Perfection.
Oh, but... The superior rabbit.
すごく小さな体で飛んでくれました。お疲れ様です。はい、バイスキャッチチーム2走目の記録を発表いたします。タイムの方が8秒43。クレオちゃんは20歳の
It's ready to go. Let's go.
男の子で、チンチラ。
Chinchilla. It's a chinchilla rabbit. That's why they call it a chinchilla rabbit. Don't you jump.
Hey,
Do not.
look at him go.
Don't bark at
Yeah,
me.
what she pets him. It's like me patting my cat.
Don't jump.
クレオちゃんチーム1走目の記録を発表いたします。
See why they call it a chinchilla rabbit, though?
7秒41、減点がマイナス1点でした。
They bounce off walls.
Doesn't it kind of look like a chinchilla, though?
Yeah, a little bit. A bit longer. Chinchillas are more
Yeah, I know, but if it looks like a fusion between them both,
yeah.
when you look at it
That
from the
color one.
side.
Oh, that one. You see the third jump? Boing. Lifted all legs at once. If they just got a Bugs Bunny going and just went boing, 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 they'd fucking nail it. They just have to utilize the
They gotta
springs
make
on
a
other
track
legs.
and just scare the shit out of the rabbits so they run. The other side.
クレオちゃんチーム2走目の記録を発表いたします。タイムの方が6秒70、減点がマイナス1点でした。はい、クレオちゃんチームお疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。
The officials of this must love their job. The mixed bunny, let's go. The premium species.
Did it say it was a Nix?
No, I said mixed.
Is that what it said?
No,
Oh, because it's brown? Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
making race jokes, yes. Yeah, it sucks. As bad as
Yeah,
the
it's
other
a bunny.
one.
初めての場所で少し緊張して足段をしてますね。
The zoom.
たくさんの人に見られていますし、とても広い場所なので、少し緊張もあるかなと思います。
Yeah, through, nice. There you go, nailed the last two.
はい、ありがとうございます。もうちょっとこうお尻をポンポンポンと触ってあげることで頑張ろうねっていう意味合いですとか、よし飛ぼうねっていう合図になってたりしますね。
Jesus Christ. I can't believe this is a thing. This is amazing. This is like turtle racing. Have you seen turtle racing? It's even worse.
はい、ありがとうございます。じゃあ準備が整いましたら理想でお願いいたします。
I mean, we have frog racing, and frog racing is what they should be doing here, scaring the shit out of the frogs so you get them to cross the field.
That's funny.
はい、スカイちゃんチームありがとうございました。
How do they score it?
Well, see, they give the score at the bottom there.
Okay.
I don't know how they score it.
はい、それではこれで中級クラスの競技が終了となります。中級クラスの結果発表も開始にて発表いたしますので、お楽しみにしていてください。それでは中級クラスの皆さん、お疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。
Well done? Well done. All right. Get
Did you
serious.
expect that they were gonna? Did they say who won?
No, I don't think so.
You know why?
I don't speak Japanese.
You know why they didn't say who won?
No idea.
Because
'Cause
they're all
everybody won?
losers because they're rabbits.
This episode and others like it
Ah.
are the generous support of my patrons on Patreon.
Brand
Get some
new
cool
second
perks
thought.
and help support the show by becoming a patron at
Shut up.
patreon.com/secondthought.
No, subscribe to our Patreon instead. Give
Yeah.
us money. Way better. Have your name here.
Oh, you already put it on.
Would you do it again? If you give me the same circumstances, I would not hesitate.
All right, come here.
Is this
According to
another
Doctors
America
Without
Bad video?
Borders, its hospital in northern Afghanistan came
That's
under
all he
repeated
does.
direct attack on Saturday from a U.S. AC-130 gunship.
Oh
When
no,
mistake
not an
occurs,
AC-130
The United States
gunship.
owns up to it, and we vow to get to the bottom of what exactly happened.
Tried to meddle in other countries' elections?
Oh, probably.
That's why tomorrow I'm going to send to Congress, help us build a world that is safer, more peaceful, more prosperous for our children and grandchildren.
Are we the baddies?
Honestly, I could just leave it at that. Not great. Okay, friends, today we're going to tackle a big topic, and one that might make my fellow Americans a little uncomfortable if you haven't grappled with this stuff before. Before we begin, I'd like to offer a quick disclaimer.
Not American.
Because I know I'm going to
Suck
get a ton
shit.
of misguided comments. I am not
Nerd.
anti-American in the sense that most self-professed patriots would use the term. I love the land, I love my neighbors,
I'm
and as
fucking
a
better
Texan,
than
you
you.
better believe I love Whataburger. I am anti-American in the sense that I do not support the United States as a political project.
I don't
A
care.
nation founded on genocide, theft, and slavery has no right to exist, and certainly has no right to act as an occupying force all over the world, dictate trade agreements.
What are you gonna
proxy
do
wars
about
with
it?
Squads, foment coups, and generally.
What are
Yeah,
you
change
gonna
it.
do about it?
Change it. Do something about it. No, that's right, you can't. You little HP computer.
Self-determination and genuine freedom. When people say things like "you're not
Shut up,
patriotic," I find it a little disingenuous because what could be more
You're not,
patriotic
though.
than recognizing your country's flaws and working to build a better
Oh
society?
my god, you say
Anyway,
the
this
same
is a
shit.
massive topic.
every
There's no
video.
way I
Every
can even mention.
I'm
all
not
the crimes the
American
US
because
has
I
committed.
criticize America? Okay. Shut up.
I'm fucking better than you.
Ugh. She is. She
So I'm
is
going to leave
better
a
than
bunch
him.
of resources in the description if you'd like to learn more.
I don't.
Originally, I was going to keep this nice and organized and have a few categories with one
Uh-huh.
major example each, but
Sure.
there were just too many to pick from.
And
let's just
don't
dive in
forget
and
the
take a brief
5 resources that link back to your network of fuckwits. Don't forget that.
stroll through the history of the U.S. empire. We'll start at the beginning with the genocide of the Native Americans.
History.
When Europeans first laid eyes on what they called
30-second
war criminal
penalty.
and slavery enthusiast,
No, go
and
back, I wanna
approved
hear.
by the United States to indigenous people living in North America. By the end of the 19th century, there were just 200,000.
Mhm.
14.8 million people were killed by these foreign invaders who, without any sense of self-awareness, considered the native population savages.
Hang on.
Perhaps the most
Hang on,
infamous
hang
period
on,
of the
hang on.
genocide is
Hang on. We don't want to, especially the Trail of Tears, we don't want to downplay that a genocide did happen here. Right?
Specifically the trail.
Specifically this one. Yeah, it's a specifically bad after this. But we need to understand also at the same time, like, you know, the whole like narrative of smallpox blankets.
Mm.
Zero accuracy of like historical relevance, right? So like the
Mhm.
blankets they knew were on smallpox like victims. They knew that, but they didn't understand how the disease spread. They didn't understand that there was like no immunities, right?
Yeah.
And also, you cannot spread smallpox from smallpox blankets.
Yeah, it has to be fluid transfer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the blankets were given, there is little evidence of ill intent there. The point is that
Mm.
the direct violence is different than like people being ignorant of like the disease they're causing. Not that the disease that they're causing wasn't a big deal either. I just think that these are separate cases that needed to be treated very separately because one is like a deliberate act of genocide and the other is like missionaries fucking up again.
Mm.
Because like that's who mainly spread the smallpox is the
Yeah.
fucking missionaries.
Because of course it was.
Yeah, it always is. I mean,
Yeah.
they're probably the responsibly for AIDS too.
Missionaries.
Good
Missionary
guy, bad
fuck the
guy,
monkey.
geopolitics. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah. Fucking direction brained. If you're not one, the other. Do.
A doofus.
You know, they get the rabbits to run for the greyhounds to chase. They need to get a greyhound to run. So he literally like sent dogs after the rabbits.
Is known today as the Trail of Tears, which lasted from 1830 to 1840. This project, initiated by President Andrew
Piece of
Jackson,
shit.
war criminal and slavery
Boo.
enthusiast, and approved by the United States Congress, had the explicit
Also,
goal of removing
hang
Native
on.
Americans from
Hang on, there's something that a lot of people overlook with Jackson. Okay, and anyone familiar, especially Ukrainians, are very familiar with Section E on the Genocide Convention. Forcible transfer of children, right?
Yes.
Jackson didn't have kids of his own. His children were all adopted from people that he slaughtered. He took the orphans after. And
Oh,
those
what a
were
great,
his
what a
kids,
great dude,
right?
giving them a life after after he slaughtered their parents.
Right?
Great, awesome. What a nice guy.
Also,
and I bet you that abuser mindset is how he taught them.
Also, the notion that everyone saw people as savages. That's
very
not
old-fashioned.
It's not true. Because like even Jefferson and all his racism said that these people are equal to the white people. They're just inferior in culture. So he was like, our culture is better.
Their culture was better, but
yeah, that's what he was. That's all he really said. Is like our culture is superior. We based our government on their government structures. Like these people had alliances with us. Well, not even us. This was the British at the time, you know. So it's really
British.
the Jacksonian Trail of Tears and Jacksonian democracy.
Yeah,
that just this is history that can't be erased ever.
The U.S. was currently colonizing and relocating them across the Mississippi. The problem was most of these people didn't want to leave their homes.
Hang on.
Naturally, the U.S. butchered.
The U.S. wasn't colonizing; they were settling. There's this whole thing of settler colonialism being the same thing. It's fucking not. Okay, India suffered from colonialism. They weren't settled.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. Colonialism is an empire moving across seas. Settling is moving across land.
The settling is displacement.
Yeah.
You know, colonialism doesn't necessarily displace. It's almost always oppressive, but not necessarily. Oh, sometimes it's beneficial. You know, like America has colonies and these people can leave, but they don't because it's beneficial. Why? Because they don't want to spend money on military to keep their, you know, because they're little island nations. They can't afford that shit.
And they get American passports.
Yeah.
Big W.
Yeah.
As many as it took until the native population complied. The actual relocation process was incredibly dangerous, and thousands of people died of disease, starvation, or exposure to the elements.
Yeah,
of course, that was no consequence to the U.S. government.
In most of its forms through history, it was about resource extraction. But
their goal,
like the U.S. colonies, like what is the U.S. getting out of it? Well, they're getting more expansion of like their territorial waters, and it allows them to further control the Pacific. To make it so we're also a Pacific nation, not just an Atlantic nation. So
even though you technically are anyway, but
yeah, because we're on both sides, but still the other side of the Pacific Ocean is, you know, very far away. But having those islands throughout gives us a lot of jurisdiction through that area to control global trade.
Yeah.
Vast new swaths of land to colonize and turn into farmland to be worked by an army of slaves. This is just one short 10-year period in the history of the
These
genocide.
commies,
conditioning.
they're so obsessed with the word colonize. Right?
He's conditioning.
Right?
Give him a break.
All the commies, they're obsessed with the word colonize for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the deal? Because they want to be like, because Russia never colonized anyone.
No, never ever.
It was
the
settling.
Soviet Union. The Soviet Union definitely wasn't colonialism. No, never. Never ever. Not even once.
Well,
those people
Puerto Rico
all joined
wants to become
because
a
they
state.
wanted to.
I mean, there might have been some that joined because they wanted to. I don't know the history
Mm-hmm.
well enough. Puerto Rico actually does want to become a state, but the GOP is like, no, that's going to be a win for the libs and Democrats, because it's like, you think that you can't get conservative Puerto Ricans?
Yeah, no shit.
You know?
Also, it's like, why would you not want another population boost?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that not a benefit to America?
But our colonies and protectorates, we like reported on them in our video about Asia and Pacific stuff, like the Marshall Islands and stuff. They actually, one of the things when it came up, they just were, because they signed like a contract to stay in the empire, right? And the main thing that they were demanding from the United States was a shitload of money, and they were citing that climate change was their grievance.
Fair
and
enough.
that the United States is responsible for it. And this was a big thing. They were like, you have to pay us this much money or we're out, you know, and the United States just like, okay.
Sure. Here's money.
Yep.
Money printed go burr.
Well, we also needed, they knew that they could pressure us because of China's stuff going on right now.
Yeah, yeah. Because they
So,
could have just gone to
good on
China.
them, you know? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Humanity that underpins the American project. Find land or resources you want, kill the locals, and maximize profits by making use of slave labor. I've left a number of books on this genocide in the description, and I highly recommend.
You literally, like, you're taking like 5 to 11 states at maximum and applying it for like our entire fucking country's history. Like, what? What?
He said I'll leave links to genocides in the description. What places do you reckon that is?
Hang on, let me see if I can even see.
No, I'm not showing you. See if you can guess.
Wait, if you place it links, well, I can guarantee you that they're not to Genocide Watch or the UN or anything like that.
No, like I mean, what countries? Like you're right, but what countries?
Oh, for genocides we committed.
Yeah.
Okay. Other countries, Philippines for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And considering what he would say, it's got to be something like in there where you have like Korea or Vietnam.
You nailed it. It was those two. So it's Korea, Philippines, Vietnam, and then War on Terror.
Okay,
Latin America and Cuba, obviously.
War on Terror, bro. Genocide means intent to destroy in whole or in part. You can, if you listen to Israel's rhetoric right now, how they're talking about Palestinians, right? And then all you need to do is think about what George Bush said, right? He literally said, our war is not with Islam. Islam is a religion of peace. And people still shade that shit. Racists will be like, religion of peace, huh? And it's like, you're the ones who made that up. The Republican side, bro. You made that up. Fucking asshole.
And my American viewers take a look. What we're taught in school does not reflect the magnitude of the crimes our country committed.
Yes, the GOP
Early
doesn't
Americans
like that
participated in the eradication of the.
But guess what? Like Hawaii joined how many years ago?
Women and
I mean, it was already like a lot of settlement from white settlers had gone on at that point.
To make the native people who were just trying to exist seem like evil monsters bent on destroying the American project. There's a reason Hitler had such admiration for this period in American history.
Here we go.
Get to that.
Every time.
Hitler's
For now,
entire
let's
thing
move
on
to some good old-fashioned
Manifest
war crimes.
Destiny happened.
The United States is an exceptionally
It's so
warlike nation.
reductionist.
In the 247 years since its inception, the U.S. has been at war for all but 17 of them.
Oh,
The country
no.
sees itself as the world police, the
No,
shining
they
city
don't.
on a hill that has the moral responsibility to enforce our conception of society on everyone
No,
else.
they don't.
This country talks a big game about the importance of freedom and the right to self-determination.
They do
But
that.
the United States has never once embodied those values.
Correct.
One early example is the Philippine-American War.
Uh-huh.
At the end of the Spanish-American War, the United States annexed the Philippines. The island nation didn't want that and declared independence. The
Mhm.
United States, a country halfway around the world, said too bad. By the U.S. State Department's own admission, the resulting war killed some 20,000 Filipino combatants and over 200,000 civilians, with some estimates going as high as 1 million people. The U.S. military was brutal, engaging in scorched earth tactics and forcing tens of thousands into concentration camps where thousands of civilians died in unspeakable conditions. Once again, all this because the U.S. saw something it wanted and chose not to recognize the rights and
I'm trying to
desires
think. It's
of the
like
people.
because like Vietnam,
Mm.
they say it's like I'm trying to think of their expression. They say it's like a reverse Vietnam, where like Vietnam, if you were inside the U.S. zone, you were safe. In the Philippines, if you were inside the U.S. zone, you weren't safe.
Right.
But like so, like the Philippines is, like when we talk about genocide, you look at like I said, Israel now. Look at how their soldiers react. Look at their rhetoric, right? The Philippines is the first time where soldiers started refusing orders because of what they were being told to do.
Yes.
It's the first time where you have soldiers protesting and getting court-martialed and like facing consequences for refusing orders, right?
Mm.
So while the state is committing acts of genocide there, it's a
soldiers
very
are
different
refusing.
attitude from the soldiers. We don't see that
Mm.
in very many wars. That type of like reserve
Sure.
where they're like, what do we no. We're not, what is this? Water torture, you know?
Yeah, true. Certainly didn't happen in the War on Terror.
What? Water torture?
Restraint.
Oh, I disagree. Restraint happened. It just didn't happen at the upper echelon where the maniacs are,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
So like
right.
there was still people at low echelons in the Philippines who were totally down to do the torture because the torture had to happen by somebody, right?
Mm.
But it's like the Nazi case when they go to Nuremberg. There was Nazis who refused the orders
Yeah.
until they started doing the rotation shit.
Yeah. And then
But
all of Western police forces took
when
that
it comes
and
to
was
the
like,
war on
that's
terror,
a
I
good
mean, you
idea.
talk to anyone who was in Iraq from 2003 to 2004, you'll hear how reserved they were.
Mm.
You know, that's the thing is they didn't sign up to go to Iraq.
True.
Who lived there. Let's fast forward a little bit. Less than 50 years after the massacre in the Philippines, another island nation was ready to surrender to the Allied powers.
Uh-huh.
You could have
At the
said
very end of
massacres.
World War II, Japan was thoroughly beaten.
Sounds like there was
But
just
even
one.
though the Allies were just beginning to celebrate
Here we go.
victory,
Atomic bombs.
the United
Yep.
States had already set its
So-
sights on a new geopolitical and economic
Black
The
Red
Soviet
Guard
Union had grown
posted a poll, and it was something like about
Mm.
how Berlin or whatever bombings, you know,
Yeah.
like were like basically saying, are these bombings justified because they ended the Nazis? And like people voted in the poll like overwhelmingly that it wasn't justified, and it's like
Mm.
it's strategic bombing. It's no different than the atom bombs. To put so much prevalence on the atom bombs is rather
Mm.
foolish because there was other bombing campaigns on Japan that were far more destructive.
Like the firebombing of Tokyo.
Mhm. Like strategic
I'm
bombing
pretty sure
ended.
70% of it got destroyed.
If you're gonna like if we're gonna harp on the atom bomb being dropped, we should harp on how it ended strategic bombing campaigns
Yes.
by most countries. You know, not the countries that this person supports.
Yeah, all of those use it.
Mm-hmm. Israel does too.
Mm-hmm.
from a pre-industrial backwater to the second most powerful nation on Earth in less than 50 years. And the US didn't want them to get any ideas.
Just a bigger
So
bomb.
on the 6th and 9th of August, 1945, the United States dropped nuclear bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
But what about all the other bombs?
Vaporizing over 200,000
You notice he
only
tried to say
civilian
that?
deaths matter?
Did you notice he tried to say that
What?
with a Japanese twang, but fucked it up real bad?
Oh, he tried to pronounce the Japanese cities Japanese style?
Yep. Hilarious.
Billions. There are those who attempt to justify the bombing, saying that it saved countless lives by ending the war. But this
Strategic
is
bombing
misguided
doesn't do that.
And an outright lie.
That's why
at
they
worst.
ended it.
Japan
That's the
was
thing.
ready
If
to
the
surrender.
bombings were justified and they ended the war, why did it end strategic bombing?
Yeah. Because all it did was bolster support for the country getting bombed. It happened in the London bombings too. People were just more resolved.
And
Idiotic.
this is one of the times where it's okay to quote Hitler, right? Because it proves a point of what the failure of strategic bombing was.
They referenced the Protocols of Elder Zion. I mean, I wrote that book. That's a great book.
Hitler, literally in his bunker, when they were like literally being like, "Hey, do we kill this guy?" Like they just talking about killing him right there, because Hitler's sitting there over his fucking maps saying that there is no surrender because if the Reich falls, there is no Germany. The German identity is erased without his Reich. So he didn't see like he doesn't matter. He's like, as long as there's one German alive and the Reich continues, right? So
yeah,
it's just not going to work against something like that. Maybe if his commanders actually did kill him, but he took care of that.
Yeah, and Japan was the same way. Like, realistically, yes, it wasn't justified, and no, they weren't ready to surrender at all. Like, it would have been a very bloody fight on the mainland of Japan for a long time.
Well, you know the conspiracy about the bomb sites on our planes?
No.
Any military nerds, I advise you to look into this because I'm not sure how much truth is behind it. But basically, the company that got the license to make the bomb site happened because of corruption, and the sites couldn't be zero, so there was no way to drop accurate bombs on target.
Okay.
So even if they chose to do logistical bombing instead of strategic bombing and knew like these are the sites that we hit, because what was a logistical bombing is Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
So the thing is we couldn't pull off those things because we didn't have a bomb site that could actually hit.
Well, Hiroshima was and still is a manufacturing powerhouse. Like it was.
They chose it to be hit.
Yeah, and they also specifically avoided specifically sacred sites too. So like there were targets. Like it wasn't just carpet bombing.
Yeah.
Like they were conscious in what they were doing, unlike what Russia does.
Russia knows what they're doing. They're hitting infrastructure in the middle of winter. Turkey does the same thing.
Yeah.
You do. Oh, you hurt our military? Well, we're going to attack your civilian infrastructure. What's this power station in the middle of winter? How many people is this going to kill when we hit it?
Yeah.
This is an established fact. But perhaps more damning than that is the fact that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were chosen not because they were military targets, but because they were population centers.
No.
What better way to scare a geopolitical rival than to say, we're willing to kill this many civilians in an instant to get what we want? The United States remains the only nation on Earth to have used nuclear weapons against other human beings. And we did it twice, on civilians, on purpose.
We did it once. It was one bombing campaign.
Continuing along the bloody path of U.S. history, we get to the Cold War, a period of about 50 years where the U.S., desperate to maintain its newfound post-war dominance, really ramped up their imperialist tendencies. According to a report by the New York Times, the United States launched at least 81 overt or covert interventions.
No, it's not the bombs. It's the bomb sites on the planes.
Latin America.
The
was
planes, the way the
particularly
optics lined
saw
up in the
regime change
planes, the
projects in
glass wasn't aligned correctly. So they would end up dropping bombs way off the target, either like ahead or behind. I'm not sure which one. But if you look at like it's like a whole like conspiracy thing that you have to look into and like look at the corruption behind it. It's a very interesting like
Hiroshima
case.
missed.
Huh?
Hiroshima missed.
The bomb?
Yep. Or it was Nagasaki that missed. One of the two. One of them missed. I think Hiroshima was the one that hit.
So this whole narrative, this is what Nelson Mandela says as well, is that those bombs were aimed at the Soviet Union.
As a message.
And this is like kind of backs up what like what did Crybaby say there? You know, what's his name? The Crybaby man who cried about his bombs being used? Oppenheimer, the Crybaby, right? So he was there. That was their thing. Is like, can't we just do a test that can show the Soviets, right? The thing is, the Russians already knew we had the bombs, so it did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. And I believe that the U.S. knew that the Russians knew. So I think that's the main reason why the president, who has a lot more fucking intelligence access than fucking Oppenheimer, chose to drop the bombs on Japan and not just do a test display, because he knew that a test display would do nothing to scare Stalin, and Stalin would be swayed or anything like that. They knew they had spies in the fucking operation the whole time. They were looking for them the whole time.
Yeah, they had to use it. They had to use it to say that they could and would use it. That's the whole point of it.
I don't think they had to use it at all.
No, but they had to, in the sense of like tactically.
Yeah, well, he chose over that because it wouldn't have done anything. It would have been a waste of resources.
Yeah.
I would say yes, it was a show of force more than a scare.
Panama, Mexico, and the
here we
Dominican
go.
Republic. Then you had the 1953 CIA-backed coup in
Fuck
Iran,
off.
which deposed the left-leaning, democratically elected President Mossadegh and reinstalled the despotic Shah of Iran. As we'll see shortly, the CIA becomes especially vital to U.S. meddling in this period.
Nah, well,
Another one
listen,
of their pet
buddy.
projects was trying to assassinate Fidel Castro.
The CIA has come out themselves to say what they did in Iran was undemocratic and wrong. But the whole thing about saying CIA-backed coup, everything is a CIA-backed coup. You think the CIA didn't fucking give a little bit of resources to Euromaidan? Who overthrew the dictator, Putin's little puppet in Ukraine? Was it the CIA or was it the people? It was the people. And that's what also happened in Iran. It would have happened with or without the CIA. But the CIA has admitted that what they did there was undemocratic.
Castro, the revolutionary leader of Cuba. They made at least 668 attempts to eliminate the beloved
Do we
leader,
believe that?
trying everything from poison to gunmen to Looney Tunes style exploding
Yeah,
cigars.
actually.
Do we believe it was 600?
Yeah. It was over decades, so yeah. Yeah.
The exploding cigar is my favorite.
It is. My favorite is the underwater one, where they were going to booby trap a seashell and paint it colorful colors. Hilarious.
I thought it was
Despite
like
the CIA's
86. What
best
the fuck?
efforts,
Historians!
Castro lived a long, healthy life.
Fact check.
Finally passing away in 2016. For anyone unfamiliar with the story of the Cuban
I just
Revolution,
somebody posted this
resisting US
picture,
imperialism,
and it's like Fidel Castro looking miserable, and he's old as fuck, and the caption is just Fidel Castro looking at a bust that he just received that he didn't want, and it's like this giant like bust of his head.
That's so funny.
Oh boy, blowback.
Mm.
Okay.
I highly recommend you check out season 2 of Blowback. It's
I'm
a
good.
fantastic podcast. Perhaps the most infamous U.S. intervention of the era was the 1973 coup in Chile.
Mhm.
In early September 1970, the people of Chile elected the democratic socialist Salvador Allende as president. Allende was, by all accounts, a good man. He recognized what life was like
Do we
for the
need
masses and
Salvador
enacted sweeping
Allende
reforms
lesson
to
in
raise the
every
standard
video
of
from
living
Second
for
Thought?
average Chileans.
Obviously.
This included nationalizing some of their industry, particularly in mining. The United States and the late Henry Kissinger didn't like that. A few months before the election, he had said, quote, "I don't see why we need to stand idly by and watch a country go communist due to the irresponsibility of its own people."
Yeah, so here's the thing
This
with
was
Kissinger,
the
right?
empire's philosophy in a nutshell.
Did what we did in Japan help end the Cold War? Did anything Kissinger did end the Cold War?
Nope.
How many lives did he take to not end the Cold War?
Don't know. He got a Nobel Peace Prize, though.
Fuck him.
Must be important.
Fuck him.
The United States has the right to interfere wherever it wants to
No.
secure its interests.
No, it doesn't.
That's just what they did in Chile. Not even a week after Allende was elected, Kissinger had concocted a plan with the CIA to destabilize and overthrow the Chilean government. On September 11th, 1973, the presidential palace was bombed, seized, and after delivering a brief speech full of hope for the future of Chile, Allende took his own life rather than be captured. Here's what he said: "Workers of my country, I have faith in Chile and its destiny. Other men will
What an
overcome
idiot.
this dark and bitter moment when treason seeks to prevail. Go forward knowing that sooner rather than later, the great avenues will open again.
Why would you
and
do
free
that?
men will walk through them to construct a better society. Long live Chile, long live the people, long live the workers." The fascist general Augusto Pinochet, backed by the US government, assumed control of the country, imprisoning, torturing, disappearing, and murdering tens of thousands of Chileans. This reign of terror
No, I don't think he should have ran either, bro. Like Nelson Mandela went to prison and he came back and he fucking freed
after the coup,
the
Pinochet
nation of
invited
South
none other
Africa and
than
ended
Milton
apartheid.
Friedman, along
Fuck
with a
Milton
bunch
Friedman.
of Chicago school
Like,
lackeys, to devise a new
what he
economic
should have
agenda
done
for the
is
country.
went and
so
surrendered
Chile
and
became
got
the guinea pig
captured
for
and
laissez-faire,
like
libertarian,
Ashalon start
free market
writing
policy.
books from his fucking jail cell. Can you imagine if Salvador Allende had been writing books from a fucking jail cell this whole time? Can you imagine that? Dude, that's
He would be one of the
dumb
big
move, killing
figures.
yourself. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, silly.
Fucking Hitler-esque move.
Leading inevitably to economic collapse in 1982. But sometimes rigging elections and deposing democratically elected leaders just isn't enough. Sometimes the U.S. decides to
Wait.
secure its
Did we already?
interests by
What was the
fighting,
date? What was the
funding-
last date we got there?
82.
What happened to 79?
What about it?
The CIA-backed coup in Iran. If the other one is CIA-backed, and then the second one is CIA-backed. You can't have one and not the other. It's either all CIA-backed or it's not CIA-backed. All right?
You might
Not
circle
only that,
back to
not
it.
only that, the 79 revolution in Iran wasn't just CIA-backed. Well, the CIA actually were the ones who said, hey, let's not do this. All right? It was Brzezinski who empowered the Islamists throughout the world. Brzezinski looked to the Shah of Iran, the Ayatollah, who wrote a letter saying, actually, America, we need your interest here, or else who would save us from the Soviet Union? You know, and we need the money from that oil. After all, it would be good for us to work together. Because the Ayatollah is very intelligent and he knew exactly who he was dealing with and how easy it was to manipulate the fucking capitalist rats on the sinking ship, right? The country went to hell. Why? Because the Shah decided to spend millions and millions, like the country's entire fucking wealth, to fucking plant trees in the middle of a desert, right? And then he imported something like 2 million birds. They all died in 3 days because you just can't build a desert build a thing in the middle of the desert. This is how the Belgian Congo shit went. They're like, we can just move Europe into the middle of the jungle, right? So he had this extravagant party where the heads of state came and all this shit. And then the people are sitting there being like, what the fuck is this? right? And the Ayatollah capitalized on this. This became a total linchpin in the propaganda against the Shah. The Shah actually had to apologize to the people. He came out and he apologized for it, all this stuff, how he's sorry to his people, blah blah blah. Right, and then Brzezinski is the one who actually tells the Shah's guard to stand down and not shoot the protesters. So, would the Islamic Revolution still happen? Yes, but you can't say that there was not American involvement in that revolution. Just as you couldn't say that there's American revolution not involved in Ukraine, even though it's irrelevant. It still would have happened.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter because they're always going to ride that train.
The Shah, have you seen takes that Iran is communist now or before? Because that's funny. Because, like, boy, that is like the worst country to be a communist in for the last, like,
yeah.
They killed all the communists. So I saw the Shah thought he was creative. What I saw, so the Shah's dad was like kind of like a military like ruler, right? And then he was like, I'm kind of done with this, and he advocated power to his son, and his son was like, Dad, don't leave, take me with you, I don't want to be the Shah, right? Because he was like some like spoiled rich kid going to Oxford or some shit at the time. Like, so the entire time he was in power, he was just coping because he wasn't the man his father was.
Jesus Christ! So it drove him mad.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, also, just as the longer he stayed in power, the worse he got, the more mad he got.
Enabling devastating proxy wars. As with the aforementioned interventions, the Cold War was the primary factor driving U.S. involvement in places like Vietnam and Korea.
Hell yeah.
We were desperate.
Hitting all those points, boy.
Hey, question. Did we stop caring about Iran? Remember the Iran-Iraq war?
Nobody cares.
Oh. Hey, since you care about communism, what about Yom Kippur?
It was starting to catch on. So the U.S. did what it does best. Butcher civilians in the name of maintaining its dominance.
Hold on, I got a thing for that.
Civilians were killed, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do.
Civilian lives.
True.
Massacres, the burning of entire villages, indiscriminate bombing, the use of napalm,
strategic bombing,
phosphorus, and millions of gallons of chemical weapons that to this day cause birth defects in Vietnam, Cambodia,
I say it loud and clear, they'll blow up that dam.
Korea, what's often referred to as the Forgotten War here in the United States.
Predator drones.
The U.S. killed between 2 and 3 million civilians.
Thanks, Kissinger. You sure ended the Cold War with all this.
It's such a dark topic to be soundbiting.
Man, those 3 million deaths sure won the Cold War.
They sure did.
By the way, Brzezinski is the main guy who like dumped weapons into Afghanistan as well. So, what are our two biggest enemies like today, especially right now? Like Iran wants to be enemy number one right now, and Al Qaeda and the Taliban.
Send in Jared, J-Man.
But we don't care about that intervention. Only Salvador Allende.
No, only the ones that specifically serve their purposes. They're the only ones.
Even though you could frame it as like the fight against communism in Afghanistan is partially why they used to have a term, and what they said what was happening to Afghanistan. It was called the Lebanization of Afghanistan.
Interesting. Why?
That was just a term at the time. It was like how we say Balkanization now, right?
Yeah.
So because at the time with Lebanon, you had the communists, you had the Christians, you had the Shia, you had the Sunni, and then you also have the Palestinians and Arafat and all this shit, all these factions in Lebanon fighting each other. So that's what happens when the Soviets fall, is that Afghanistan breaks into complete chaos, and they said it's the Lebanization.
It's very interesting. It's a fair way to put it. I guess Balkanization means a breakup of the state. That makes some kind of sense. Yeah, he is. Fuck that old cunt. Glad he's dead.
Yeah.
Fucking dance on his grave.
There was a thing today. It said like he suffered cardiac arrest, and everyone had the obvious joke of he had a heart, and I just went, bats?
That's great.
Of its population. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that Korea is the forgotten war.
No,
It's not that we've forgotten, it's that our government doesn't like to remind us that they slaughtered millions of people just so capitalism wouldn't have to contend with an economic challenge.
Pretty sure that it was more
If you'd
than
like
that.
to learn more about the
sure.
Korean War, check out
Oh
Blow
boy,
Up
here we
Season
go.
4.
Hmm.
And these are just two of the more
Dude, if you want to
well-known
learn more,
proxy
watch
conflicts
an
during the
entire
Cold
fucking
War. But there were many,
season of the
many
podcast.
more, and they remain a favorite tool of the U.S. empire to this day. But we can't talk about war crimes and civilian casualties without
talking about
the
Russia.
Iraq War. Today,
Ooh.
20 years after the start of the so-called War on Terror, it's no longer controversial to say that the Iraq War was started based on a lie.
Mm-hmm.
This is a well...
Yeah.
That is an interesting question. I don't actually know.
Okay. The Korean War is pretty complicated because like the reason he's pressed on it is because the North Koreans were literally about to win, and then we started dumping forces in.
Mhm.
And also this whole like millions of lives. You know those videos where it's like battle maps and it's like time lapse battle maps.
Mhm.
Watch one of those for the Korean War.
It goes like all the way down, then whoop.
It just that like for most of the war, it was not the other side dying, and then all of a sudden it was, right?
Yeah.
So the Western backed forces just ended up being more effective, and then both nations started negotiating to draw down troops.
Mm.
But Russia and the communist nations were dumping way more troops in there and then they would send human wave tactics, and now we're going to cry that a lot of them died.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally using classic Soviet techniques, classic Russian techniques.
Yeah, so it's like the whole thing is that oh, so many Soviets died in the World War II. Can you imagine if they like actually like used actual tactics and
proper
logistics?
military tactics, yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine how like literally like all of Europe would be communist right now?
Yeah. And if they had used those tactics in Ukraine, they would have clapped Ukraine too.
Oh,
But
proper
nope.
military tactics?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing
Actual
is like
logistics.
yeah, the only time like Ukraine started losing the war was when they got dragged into a war of attrition over a garbage heap.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was really dumb of the Ukrainian command. Big L for them.
Yeah.
Established fact. Anyone who tries to say otherwise is either in complete denial or is acting in bad faith.
Sure, bro.
For the younger viewers in the audience, the United States made a big show of saying they had proof Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction.
Doofus.
They did not. And so based on false testimonies that served the interests of empire, the
Hang
United
on.
States
Hang
invaded
on.
Iraq
Hang
and
on. Obtained through torture, please. The evidence to invade Iraq was obtained through torture.
Yeah.
Occupied it for years. What was once a vibrant, thriving nation was obliterated in what were called shock and awe
Thriving?
campaigns.
Okay.
The U.S. military
Thriving? Under Saddam?
Well,
Thriving?
it was the sanctions' fault. It wasn't thriving. First
Thriving.
of all, like it's really like the invasion being illegal and fucked up is one thing. 2004 is another thing. When they've already made the statement they're going to draw down, and the whole shock and awe campaign was not strategic bombing. There's only like one major target that missed, and they hit a bunker where like civilians were taking cover, and it killed like maybe 100 or something. I'd have to check, but it was a serious thing. Like they killed a lot of civilians hitting this bunker, but it was like acknowledged like as an accident, you know?
Yeah.
But all
Not gonna
these
bring those 100 people back.
all these targets were hard military targets, and the United States had already paid off a lot of Saddam's commanders. The CIA went in and paid off a lot of these people, so they left.
That's funny.
So it's really when you start diving into these blood contracts and shit with private military corporate things, the Iraqi people really did not appreciate that. That's what they would call them too, is blood contracts. And these people, they knew who they were. They knew who the contractors were. They knew who the American army was. And they had way more issue with the contractors over anything else. And they demonstrated that when they hung him from that bridge. And from there, the Iraq War could have never recovered because of how America responded to that. Which civilians did, by the way.
Yeah.
Targeted communications, electricity, vital infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and water treatment facilities. Anything they could do to inflict maximum suffering. Over the course of the war, the U.S. killed at least 1 million Iraqis.
No. Nope.
But beyond the evil of starting the war under false pretenses was the even more unspeakable evil of Abu Ghraib.
Nice.
This secret prison was operated by U.S. personnel who engaged in
It wasn't
torture,
secret.
sexual assault, and other war crimes. I
Okay.
can't even show the unblurred images here, but I'm sure you recognize some of them just from the silhouette. That's how infamous this prison was. As with everything else in this video, there are links in the description to learn more. And of course, Blowback has a season on the Iraq War.
Shut the fuck up, bro. If you don't know what happened in that prison, just read the Wikipedia, okay?
Yeah, also, don't listen to these clowns.
Just read the Wikipedia.
Also, if you want to listen to a show, listen to ours.
I mean, I
Much better.
talk about Ghazi with it in like some of our pilot stuff that we were experimenting with. I talk about Abu Ghraib and its effect on the war and stuff. But the story there, it's like so twisted. Do you know they have a musical about Abu Ghraib, and it's like about the soldiers being like gay and stuff? And
I did not.
Yeah, so it was like a satire to mock America type musical, but it was supposed to be really funny. But like, so like, as far as we know, the torture was not endorsed by the U.S. military. It was completely orchestrated by an independent cell inside that place. Now, there are circumstances that we have to consider here. They didn't exactly say torture these people, but it may have been implied, right? They said that, like, you know, shake these people up. We want information, right? The people who were in this unit were not trained for prisoner guards, right? And you can see interviews with these people, and like the guy who came forward and snitched on him, he was like, "I've never been trained in like protection of prisoners, but it certainly wasn't what I was seeing there," because he like walked upstairs and there's like two naked guys like chained to like a radiator or something. And so this guy, this like the ringleader there, he like bragged about it, and like so he was like, "Oh, I want to make something. Can you, like, you have pictures that you took throughout the war on these CDs. Can I have them?" And he was like, "Yeah, take them." Also on those CDs were these pictures from Abu Ghraib that they took.
Oh, shit.
Right? And so the guy found these apparently by accident, right? Even though he was like sussy about these guys, and that's why he like wanted to like try and like look into it. And then he immediately went forward with the evidence to journalists.
Good on him. What a fucking legend.
What's interesting here is the guy who defends the torturers, right? You want to guess who it is?
Epstein's lawyer?
No, it's bigger than that. It's not something that you would guess. But there's this experiment called the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's been well established.
Yeah.
A flawed experiment, and it was basically like some guy's sick torture fantasy, you know, involved with it, right? That's the guy who came and like testified on behalf of these people.
My God.
So, you know, so his whole thing about that, it's the barrel, it's the whole system that put these people here. That's not inherently evil people, you know, that type of thing. And so what's really bizarre is the one with the girl and the get this girl, you know, with the finger guns, and the ringleader are married now. Both of them say they're glad of what they did. They defend their actions
awesome.
to this day.
Great people, obviously.
There's another guy, I don't remember exactly what happened to him.
They definitely don't beat their kids.
And the fourth girl, she had like autism, and was involved in like this love triangle where the guy was basically making the girls like compete for his admiration, you know? So like imagine the manipulation and twisted like shit this guy was doing
to the prisoners.
Isn't the pedo guy Israel's lawyer? Isn't he over there defending him?
Pedo guy.
Dershowitz.
Oh.
So
It's
like,
important we also
the more you dive into Abu Ghraib, the more twisted it gets, but the more you see that it was not a top-down thing. That said, there was a top-down thing going on.
Yeah.
And it was worse than Abu Ghraib. Abu Ghraib was like, hey, let's make people piss on themselves because we leave them chained up for so long. Let's put them in like stress positions. Like, just go like read the first and it's documented by the Red Cross and by Ali Soufan. He was there. He called the FBI headquarters to arrest the CIA for what they were doing to Abu Zubaydah. So if you go back and you read what happened to Abu Zubaydah, it's so much worse. And nobody talks about it. They want to focus on the shit where we have the spooky pictures of Guy in Hood. And same with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. They want to use the Abu Ghraib pictures too.
The U.S. is currently committing. Over the last few months, the Israeli occupation has drastically ramped up.
So he was going to defend them, but then they were like, hey, we need someone else.
Attack by the Palestinians in resistance as justification. To be clear, this
Palestinian
violence did not
resistance,
start
who's that?
on October 7th. The Palestinian
that's what I
people
thought.
have been subjected to brutal colonial cruelty for the past 75 years. It's not a complex issue.
Settle.
If you don't feel
There's
confident enough to take a position,
settlement.
it's perfectly
Settlement.
fine. I would just ask that you educate yourself on the subject.
Educate
This is one of
yourself
those
what
issues where
fucking
people decades
colonialism
from now
is.
will look back and say, how did decent people watch this happen and do nothing? I'd recommend you start with Ilan Pappé's book, The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine. He's an Israeli historian, so there can't be any accusations of pro-Palestinian bias.
Sure.
Just be warned, it's a harrowing read.
Who's watching this
how
who's
does
not
the US
already
fit
on
into this?
Palestine's
Well,
side? in
Israel
this?
is a client
This is
state
true.
of the U.S. It serves as a vital
Client
geopolitical
state.
foothold in the region.
Hmm.
That's literally the only reason the U.S. cares about Israel,
No, it's
regardless
not.
of how elected
No.
officials try to sell it. Don't believe me?
Also,
Here's current
bro,
President Joe
what
Biden
are you
back in
talking? Okay, what about Jordan? What about Saudi Arabia? What about Turkey? What about even like certain factions in Iraq?
That doesn't matter.
What about Kurdistan?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, Israel's the only power we have there. Nobody else we can depend on besides Israel. What about
Didn't you know?
Egypt?
Nah, fuck them.
What about Greece?
Nah, fuck them too.
We don't need
Only
Israel.
need Israel.
That's what needs to be. We need to drive this home. Okay? And the reason why we need to drive this home is because it only helps the case that we should not be fucking sitting by and letting Israel do this shit. There is no reason for it. The only justified reason to not stand up to Israel is that it strengthens Saudi Arabia. Who gives a fuck at this point?
It's a fair point.
Like, if
Like,
you're
at this
actually
point.
somebody actually got brought to trial on genocide. It doesn't matter if they're going to get convicted or not. The fact that they're there, the United States needs to fucking do something, and not Biden's whole shit about how he's quietly talking. I've quietly expressed my concern, bro.
Yeah,
shut
loudly
the fuck up.
support. Yeah.
Just shoot him.
1986.
Seriously. Just kill him. Just kill him. Just kill the fucking Lakud and take over. Do what America does best.
He had to go to 1986.
Here we go. This whole shit with Biden. Fuck off.
He had to
Do
go
what
to
America does best.
1986.
Take him. Take him out. Take over. Occupy.
$3 billion investment we made.
Crazy. Would you believe it? Would you believe it? Oh my God. Since 1986, America's empire has grown, and we now don't actually need Israel, right? But what about Turkey? Are we going to talk about how we also back their war crimes? What allies' war crimes do we not back? What genocide do we not back?
That would require siding with the Kurds, John.
Oh, right.
You can't have
do
that.
They can't do that because they're not the breed of communist that they like.
Exactly.
Not in Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region.
Hey, what was happening at this
The United States would
time?
have to go out and invent an Israel.
Probably a war.
The U.S. provides Israel with funding, weapons, ammunition, equipment for their missile defense system, and most importantly, unconditional support for their genocidal project. Elected officials are very nearly unanimous in their defense of the apartheid regime, including one-time progressive champion Bernie Sanders. U.S. media uncritically repeats Israeli propaganda 24/7. despite all
I
of
fail
it
to
being
believe
debunked,
Vaush said anything best,
including-
but what talking about ST? What does that mean? What is ST?
Second thought.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it exists to make leftists into fascists. I mean, I think we said it better.
Yeah, we probably did. Somewhere in there.
Not really. Not really. What these people don't want to tell you is that Israel was founded by communists. It was a communist Bolshevik idea, and that's how the settlement began, because the Soviet Union didn't see Jews as people. So even like I've said this before, but I have a friend of mine. Her grandparents came to Israel from Chechnya.
Mm-hmm.
They were Bolsheviks.
Interesting.
So, not only that, we are not Britain. And the only reason we got dragged into Israel is because communists came. So, as long as Russia stayed the fuck out of this shit, there would be no like American influence in the region. There's no American influence really in Africa. The French still have that locked down. Wonder why?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Though we sided against France and Britain in the Suez Crisis. It's literally one of the most important events of that time period. And not only that, we were anti-Israel. We didn't necessarily against the state of Israel. We weren't necessarily, like funding the Palestinians and stuff, but we were sending and doing diplomacy with the nations who were against Israel. That's why we sided with Egypt and Syria in these conflicts. Yeah, until 67, Yom Kippur. Whenever Yom Kippur happens is when it changes.
Was it the one where they almost nuked
go read
Egypt?
the Wikipedia, because it's a better source than anything this guy's is going to recommend. In the Wikipedia itself, it will say that the main reason, it may not be the Yom Kippur Wikipedia, you may have to click through a few pages, but I know for a fact on there, it's going to tell you that the main reason the United States was there is because Soviets were there.
Is that the one where North Korea was there?
Yep.
Orders. Just a few weeks ago, the UN voted on a resolution to demand an immediate ceasefire.
Wow, that worked.
Of the 193 member states, only 10 voted against the resolution. Among them, the United States.
No!
Many people, myself included, believe that this unconscionable backing of the most explicit genocide in modern history will be the nail in the coffin of U.S. legitimacy abroad. No country on earth beyond our Western European vassals will ever...
I don't know about...
Yeah, doubt it.
I don't know about most explicit, but as far as like death toll in a period, it's definitely serious.
No, of course it is. I don't think it's going to impact the US at all.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, that's the first when the list popped up. The first thing I saw was Papua New Guinea. But I think I think this is actually the reason. I think because we talk about this with Modern Insurgent, I think because the Free Papua movement, they like support Israel, so it might have something to do with that. Like they're like kind of like putting down like the freedom movement that's there. I'm not sure though.
Believe a word the U.S. says about freedom, democracy, human rights, or self-determination. The only difference between the United States and Israel is that the genocide of Native Americans was almost absolute.
Stop.
And Israel
Stop.
hasn't achieved that
Stop.
goal yet. There's a reason Hitler spoke so highly of U.S. colonization efforts. It was complete extermination.
Hey, question. What do you say about the Armenian genocide? Hey, remember when I said this is one of the times it's fine to quote Hitler?
Mm-hmm.
Because it adds historical context. Do you know this quote?
I think I do, yeah. That they should have gone further. Something like that. If I remember correctly. Something along those lines.
I've issued the command, and I'll have anybody who utters but one word of criticism executed by firing squad. That our war aim does not consist in reaching certain lines, but in physical destruction of the enemy. That's invoking genocide. Accordingly, I have placed my death hand formations in readiness for the present only in the east, with orders to them to send death mercilessly and without compassion, men, women, and children of Polish deviation and language. Only thus shall we gain living space, which we need. Who, after all, speaks of the annihilation of the Armenians? Who after all today speaks of the annihilation of the Armenians? So to say that the United States is what influenced them is just wrong. It's just wrong. The oh yeah, here we go. They're gonna ban it. Now we're gonna get another strike for that. At least I didn't pull it up and show the quote, right? But like the German policy of concentration camps already existed before Hitler and before the idea of like his, that they say is manifest destiny idea. Before any of that, that German vision, the almost like a Zionistic nationalistic vision, the romantic nationalism, right? They had already been doing that in Africa. It was already their policy. They've already experimented with the concentration camps long before Hitler came to be. The military command didn't change. It was the same military who committed those genocides in Africa, now committing them in Europe. They learned from past genocides and continued doing them in Europe.
From defenders of the Israeli genocide of Palestinians were used to justify the atrocities committed in North America. Just about everyone agrees that what the European colonizers did to the Native Americans was wrong. And now, a couple hundred years later, we're doing land acknowledgements and pretending it was always unanimous that the genocide was bad.
Land acknowledgements are cringe.
What genocide do people not look at today and be like, you know, that one was good? None of them. Huh? No. You think that there's still people today saying that the genocide of the Native Americans is good, right?
Is there?
There is apologists for all genocides, but in fact, he said most people, right? Most people actually don't like genocide.
Yeah, because they have a brain and a heart.
TYT inspired Hitler. Yeah, actually, Junk was there.
That's why he's selling his new book.
Yeah, the Hitler book.
They inspire themselves. It's a circle.
Yeah, Steven Crowder. He's such a piece of shit. This guy triggers me way more than Hasan because he's. It's like, shut up, bro.
Steven Crowder.
Hi, everybody. Actual Nazi here.
Wife beater.
You guys are a piece of shit.
Is happening with the genocide in Palestine. As with everything else, I've left a bunch of resources on this issue in the description.
You know, he only had one car.
Who?
He has all this money.
Oh yeah. That's part of the abuse. Yeah.
And he had one car. Yeah, I was about to say it's
homo. Like. Did you see Matt Walsh said it's gay to love your wife?
That's hilarious.
He said buying a Valentine's Day gift a month early is the gayest thing a man could do.
Sure, buddy. Sure.
A doofus.
Well, that was grim. It's always hard making these videos because...
No, it's not. It's not hard for you because this is not a new video. You've made this video before.
I didn't even mention the CIA's domestic operation.
About 4 other times.
Yes.
Actually.
Like, make a new video, bro. There's such a fucking, you put all this effort and cinema into your fucking shots. You clearly know how to, you work film. You clearly know how to write. How about writing a new script for once? We've heard it before, bro. How about, what if we just, literally, this was all just like, hey, the United States did this. It was literally, the whole video was just to say that, to connect genocide of the Native Americans to Israel. Why? Yeah. Why couldn't you just do a video focusing on Palestine? Where's that video? Do we need to learn about Salvador Allende for the fucking 100th time from you?
You want to see a good video on Palestine from a leftist? So I can show you one and sort of give an example. They're short.
Is it us?
No, it's not.
We have great videos on Palestine.
We do have good videos.
Who did it?
Channel's GDF. It's the guy that does the how X got so good at wasting X videos. He does pretty good videos covering statistics and what Israel's saying and shit.
I don't want to watch good videos. I want to be angry.
Fair enough. Okay, next one. Why do you do this to me?
No. Save this one. This is the main event one. We gotta put a filler.
Fucking
filler
Hasan.
in there. Slide a filler. It's not Hasan. It's Vaush.
My Pillow or Mike Lindell canceled on Fox News, and please help us to support us and during this time of cancellation. And thanks for your support of Lindell TV. I believe this is all about.
I like the font that they used.
Mm-hmm. I think he used that, but I'm not sure.
Stopping me from talking about the election platforms and the elections.
Bro, they wrote pillow talk.
To getting rid of my voice.
Today, a despondent Mike Lindell told his fans that Fox News has canceled him. But more specifically, they canceled their partnership with MyPillow. According to an anonymous source, that's because Mike Lindell is many months late on his payments to Fox. Specifically, the anonymous source stated that Lindell hasn't paid for any MyPillow ads aired on the network since August 2023. The circumstances were communicated to Lindell's media agency at length, the source added.
Fair enough.
A Fox spokesperson seemed to confirm that reporting, saying,
I'm
as
fucking
soon as
better
our
than
account
you.
is paid, we would be happy to accept their advertising. But when you are a right-wing grifter and you're in right-wing media, like
Why do we care?
It's funny. It's
any
funny.
Slight
It's not hilarious.
Slight against you is an opportunity
It's just
to
bad.
fundraise off of your audience. So why not frame yourself as the victim?
Why not?
Somehow in a scenario where you're not paying for services and thus services are not being rendered. That, folks, is a cancellation. That, folks, is the woke mind.
He took it. He's learning. And he's learning from Trump.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Need to go to LindellTV.com or whatever the hell his website is to support him and also buy some My Pillows. Which, fun fact about My Pillow, he came up for the idea, and I know way too much about My Pillow.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
On crack and sleeping on a pile of garbage. And he theorized a pillow that would be much more comfortable than the pile of garbage that he had fallen asleep on that day, which I think is just any pillow, but that's how he came up with the idea for My Pillow. Back to the cancellation, the unfair cancellation he's experiencing from Fox News. WAPO contacted him about the story, and here's how that back and forth went.
For your job
Lindell
to be
hotly denied the anonymous
talking about
assertion,
the My
saying
Pillow
that,
guy
of course, his company is
not
paid
paying
for
his
its
ads.
I just
on the
said
Young
that we paid
Turks.
them $4 million for ads.
140,000 views. How? Why?
Because it's funny.
December.
Yeah,
alone,
Taiwan
he
elections.
said.
Yeah,
Your
I mean,
sources are
they went
false.
exactly how we
Trump-
thought they would. We fully expected the party who has men in power to stay in power because, I mean, like you look at poll after poll after poll after poll of the most effective leader, and she's at the top year after year after year after year after year. She's been the most effective leader. She's the only person in the fucking world actually advancing democracy, while the United States fucking appeases authoritarians and declines democracy. So, of course they won.
Again, the person with knowledge of the situation said that Lindell's December payment was for ads that aired in June and July. Now, this is becoming somewhat of a reoccurring theme with Mike Lindell.
Wow.
In October of last year, the Pillow Man's lawyers stated that they would no longer be able to represent him because Lindell was millions of dollars behind in legal fees.
Wow.
Lindell praised his lawyers as brave and courageous and said he would gladly keep paying them if he wasn't broke. You've lost everything. Every time he said.
Consequences, baby.
No, that's awesome. I would
Back
pay
the wrong
trying
horse.
way too hard to laugh.
Aren't they?
It's
there's 3 of them.
It's hard to pay people when you're broke. I know this.
I'm gonna go to a fancy restaurant. My
Oh
favorite
my God,
restaurant,
everyone
have a
is worse than
delicious
the
meal
other.
and say, I would love to pay you and give you a huge tip if I was not broke. Yeah, that goes over.
I would love to pay you, but I'm broke. That's a t-shirt. Put that on a t-shirt, y'all. That is one of the greatest statements I've ever heard. Sorry for the interruption. That's too funny.
No, that's fine. That was the end of it anyway. I mean, the whole situation is funny,
So
and
funny.
that's why I've become somewhat obsessed
funny.
with Mike Pillow.
Hilarious.
I always,
So
you know,
funny.
I may not know my flowers, but I know a bitch when I see one.
any given issue. He did
Hear
one.
this way louder
It was
than
like
them.
the highlight of my year last year, where he was selling drones that you can fly into polling places on election days to literally illegally scrape data
Amazing.
from the voting machines.
Oh,
wow.
And to advertise it, they had on the Jumbotron a video from a drone flying like near miss over the scalps of the chuds in the audience.
No way.
Everything and where did he get the money to do that?
Crazy.
He was flat broke at the time. He is an enigma to me and a point of fascination.
Well, I learned from Rudy Giuliani from having to do a piece on Rudy Giuliani a while back, and I looked at a Rudy Giuliani like a live read for his podcast, and it was for Mike Lindell. I learned that Mike Lindell sells not only pillows, he sells slippers. Well, I didn't know that. But anyway, the point being, slippers. If you're gonna advertise on Fox or any other channel,
at the mall, I held a bake
the way
sale.
it works is you have
A
to pay
racist
for
bake
those
sale.
ads within 90 days. Maybe most places will say, hey, pay us up front and then we'll give you whatever. But at least pay them by the end of the quarter. If Mike Lindell's not paying except every 6 months, he's got some financial difficulties. Because when Fox drops your ads, of all places, then you're in real trouble.
Of all places.
Yeah, and the grift, it's a tough grift to pull off because it's a cable news station. The entire revenue generation comes from paid ads. That's how they pay their bills. That's how they make a profit.
Throw another filler in there. The only thing is like there's the main event that I labeled, and then there's one that has to be after the main event. But everything else we can just throw in.
A new rebellion
this
is
one we
growing
can
in
also choose to
Ethiopia.
watch or not.
In the Amhara region,
what?
This one we can choose to watch or not. I threw it in there because like, hey, because his last video was like awful on ISIS.
Oh, let's do immigration then. This
we can also see.
Dave Rubin, is this on his a viral channel that he
Skip
does?
to what Dave Rubin says here.
Where is he doing this?
This is on the Good Old Rubin Report.
What?
Skip to what Dave Rubin says here.
Mega Boys podcast. He's probably not aghast and probably agrees with AOC.
She went on The Daily Show, and apparently The Daily Show does still exist. It's been very confusing to me whether it exists at all.
Bro,
anymore.
they probably do better than you.
Doesn't even matter. But here they are talking about
Dave
what
Rubin
we
of
do
all
about
people
illegal
saying that someone else
immigration.
is
Listen,
irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you are literally like nobody likes you.
I can't believe he's still going.
Like more people like Jackson Hinkle than you, bro.
That is insulting.
Mm-hmm.
That was the point, is to insult him.
To how, well, she doesn't call it illegal immigration, of course, but listen to how she says the quiet part out loud.
I'm fucking better
From
than you.
all parts of the political spectrum, one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration is the fact that we have an undocumented population. Now, you can fix that by trying to build a wall, or you can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship.
Give him sass.
I love this, right? So, like,
Where's
think
the
about,
click?
No, think about this, right? So, did you see that the Fox News is pissed about Schumer's new immigration bill that he's proposing?
Nope.
Okay, let me pull that up. But we've talked about it pretty extensively. We talked about it on the last LTech. If you haven't seen, we have the news separated. If you want to go to the channel and look at that,
you should go watch it.
The interview is great too. But you can also like wait and double up since it's going to be a 2-part interview. But Mexico basically proposed different things, like lifting the blockade of Cuba, and basically in exchange they'll continue cracking down to make sure more people don't come over the border. But also in exchange for that, they're going to handle more documentation on the Mexico side, right?
No shit.
So that's the big thing is like I mean, we talk about it in that video.
So they document them in Mexico and then do.
Well, well, that's normally how it works to get work permits. He wants a certain amount. It's like 10 billion or something like that. I say it in the episode if you want to go look. But the point is that this strengthens, because Mexico is also part of the localization to replace China, right?
Yeah.
So we're strengthening our relationship with Mexico anyway. So this would expand Mexico's power, but it would also allow us to form what I've been saying, that North American alliance, right? Mexico's military is better for us to have an alliance than Canada's. Mexico's military actively fights insurgencies.
This is true. Canada's rides horses.
So Mexico not only would handle immigration in their country, they would handle it for the entire Latin and Central American region. It would all have to go through Mexico. You wouldn't just show up at the border. You would have to go to Mexico first. This is what he's proposing too. And in exchange, one of the things that he wants is like lifting the blockade of Cuba and shit, which should have happened at the end of the Obama admin. But like everything, he's a coward.
Pretty cool proposal though.
Let's see if this is the new day.
We'll have folks that might say, look at these systems, that our shelter system has weight and things like that. But one of the reasons that our public systems experience weight is because people don't have a documented and reliable path to work and sustain themselves, just like all of our ancestors did and our grandparents.
Our ancestors and our grandparents came here illegally. I am guessing if you watch this, for the most part,
actually, Dave, mine came in shackles.
My great grandparents.
My.
You better believe it was illegal.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Okay. Now pause it for 1 second. First off, when's the part where the host looks at her like she's crazy? Was that supposed to be it?
That was it.
Oh, when the huge applause happened and he went,
yes, I agree with that.
Okay. And the fact of the matter is that the idea that
I found it.
There was no
this is a graphic that Fox News aired, right? Increase green cards by 50,000 a year.
Nice. Will I be able to get one?
Probably.
Nice.
Hang on.
Fuck yeah.
Show the front of the cake. Keep reading it, Jack.
Work permits for adult children of H-1B holders. Immediate work permits for illegal alien released from custody. Interesting.
Right.
Taxpayer-funded lawyers to certain UACs. And mentally incompetent aliens. 5,000 migrants per day allowed into the US.
It's unaccompanied children.
Okay.
UACs.
And restricts parole for those who enter without authorization.
Because right now we're having the children defend themselves in immigration
that's
court.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah, great.
So 5,000 migrants per day allowed into the US. That's not just on the border.
It's pretty good.
Well, this also goes in line with what Mexico is asking for. A lot of it.
Yeah.
And also, they're focused when they're released from custody. Shit. Released from custody, right? So the release from custody means that they've been cleared to not be criminals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I didn't really click on it, but I saw that there was something going on there. I have been very tuned out from her since the whole fascist arc. Well, them. I don't know. I don't want to. I know they're going through some stuff, but they started doing the whole Russians or Mongoloids thing, and it's like this is not for Ukraine. You're supposed to be a spokesperson. Canada is also cringe. I agree. So I don't really know what they have been saying with these migrant investigations.
Mm.
Migration is still going down because Mexico has shown that they're just giving us a demonstration that they can.
Yeah.
They can stop it if they want it to.
Mm-hmm.
All of this, and again, because I've been saying for weeks now that the Ukraine funding for Ukraine is going to be tied up with giving border control authorization for stuff. Another clip I sent is a fucking Greg Abbott talking about, he's on video talking about how they wish they could shoot the people coming over the border, but Biden would say no. He's the governor of Texas.
Production coming back to the US. There's plenty of jobs. There will be plenty of jobs in the US.
Where do these people go when they can't find work? Do you know who grows your food, bro? Do you like having stocked grocery shelves?
It's a lot of stuff that you don't see behind the curtain.
Yeah. You like having milk?
People who came here, but she's not talking about if you go back, he doesn't listen to what she's saying. Go back. Let's go back. Yeah, right there.
You can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship. And we'll have folks that might say, look at these systems, you know,
it's
that
coming.
our shelter system
Communism.
weight and things like that. But one of the reasons that our public systems experience weight
it just shows how full of shit the GOP is, right? Because they're angry that she's saying if their issue is that they're illegal, let's document them, and they're like screeching about that, right?
Yeah.
With both of these things, I thought the issue was that they were undocumented crossing illegally.
Mm. Wouldn't this fix the problem? I guess not.
Yes.
Mm.
I thought we wanted to make sure this was regulated.
I guess not. I guess they just want to kill people.
A reliable path to work and sustain themselves, just like all of our ancestors did, and our grandparents.
Okay,
Our
so let's just be
First
clear
of all,
on what she's saying.
First of all, also, AOC is being a little misleading here because these are temporary work contracts.
Mm.
And you know, that's another benefit, right? Is that because they're documented, when that work contract expires, we know where they are.
Mm.
So they're not going to, you know, it's not about them coming and making roots like our well, her family did. Mine didn't come by choice. They came in shackles. But that's beside the point. Like, it's literally giving them the power to deport more people.
Mm.
Do you want
At the
them
end
to
of the
stay
day.
here? Do you want them to stay here off the record taking taxpayers' money? I thought that's what you were against.
Cash jobs.
That our ancestors and our grandparents, when they came here, they had a path to citizenship. Now, to be fair,
mine didn't.
Like, you know, during World War II, like, you know, we kept certain groups of people out of the country, and at different times we restricted different people.
Yeah, like when we banned the Muslims.
Work legally.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying, just like them, if we want to make sure that we're not putting pressure on big cities and their social services, we need to figure out a way to allow these people to work legally.
Uh-huh.
Now, he doesn't listen to what she's saying because his whole business model is show AOC and then that's it.
Donald Trump's ancestors came here illegally to avoid the draft in Germany like 100 years ago.
I think there's some question about how Melania got here too, actually, but that's not really. I mean, that's
she married Trump's
wife.
There, the point is, she is saying the way.
What about Ted Cruz?
Take pressure off of our social safety net is to allow these people to do what they wanted to do in the first place, which was come here and work.
Here's a better idea. Eliminate borders. Problem solved.
And like the thing is like they're already here. When people talk about like, ooh, maybe we should let undocumented folks vote in school board elections. That's because it's not to like entice them to come from Mexico. It's because they're already part of the community and their kids go to those schools.
Imagine the multi-country cities that could have formed on borders if borders didn't exist. Like imagine these cultural hubs of two cultures smashed together.
So it exists in other places.
I'm sure it does. But like just imagine this cross-cultural divide.
Sometimes it's not good.
But like it's an interesting idea. I mean, isn't there that one city in America that's like on the border of two states? Minneapolis.
Sure. Yeah, Minneapolis.
And then there's the other one, which I can't
Twin
remember.
City, St. Paul.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about St. Paul.
Yeah.
More like the deformed twin.
But like something similar to that sort of stuff could easily form. San Diego could merge into a massive city-state with Tijuana. That'd be cool. The best Mexican food available. Yeah, maybe.
So maybe they should have some input, like short of actually giving them full citizenship, which is what we should do.
And our grandparents came here illegally. I am guessing if you watch this, for the most part, your ancestors came here legally. My great
I'm not
grandparents
American.
on both sides. What was it for your family? If you don't know, think about it. Do a little research.
Well,
Ask
it
your
depends
parents, ask
what
your
side of the
grandparents.
family
Look
you're
at that.
asking about, Dave. Well, as I said, one side of my family was brought here in shackles. Lucky enough, after that generation, their children were able to, through their contract, they were able to obtain a small piece of land, which is more than the Africans who were brought here in shackles got. That's what we call white privilege there in the servitude game. The other side had to sell their children for meat to get passage to America to come because they're in the middle of a genocide. So, and then there's like my mom's side, which is like Euro trash, just all that stuff. Germany, Russia, it's still, mix of European things on that side.
White.
Yeah. What that side's white. One side's Irish, one side's white. But when the Irish families came together, that's where the sides were coming from.
Oh, they're undocumented. So the solution is just document them. Oh,
yeah,
there's 12
dickhead.
million of them here. We don't know how many are pouring through the border. Just document them, send them in, give them some dots, and that'll solve the problem. That doesn't solve any of the problems. That probably makes the problem worse in some extent to just say, oh, yes, as many people.
It allows them to start putting into the system that you guys say that they steal from. You dickhead.
As long as we document you, you're good to go. But there was something oddly refreshing about
what
that.
What is the problem that doesn't solve?
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem?
Irish or POC? No, that's the Italians. I need to get the fucking thing of Como when he's talking to the Jewish guy. Goes ethnics like us.
You famously said that the name Fredo was like the N-word for Italians.
Yes, that was a mistake.
It's the same interview. I just missed it. Ethnics like us. It's so funny.
Their undocumented status to exploit them for paying them lower wages.
But the question is for him is, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Because he thinks it would exacerbate the problem if we provided some form of amnesty like Reagan did. And I think the problem is the
Schumer
type
policy
of
is
people who
also
are
more
coming
Reagan-esque.
in. Some aspect of these people.
They would call Reagan a lib nowadays. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
How far right it's gotten.
Document you, you're good to go. But there was something oddly refreshing about that clip where she flat out says what their plan is. It's not about a wall. It's not about a border. It's just about bringing in as many of these people as possible. And again,
she didn't say that.
You need only go to the video we showed you right before that to go, like, is it racist to these people? What are their intentions? Where are all the chicks?
My brother, this is Haran.
Dave!
Picture Ellis Island.
That's why you document them. You want to know who they are? Do you want to know who they are or not, Dave? You fucking idiot.
1937, the old woman, right? The 80-year-old woman with the bag, holding like one apple or something, trying to get in with the.
Why is that up so early? What the fuck?
Well, because Sam is gonna.
It's Dave's
We
video.
can move on though. I just wanted to hear Dave Rubin try to.
Fair enough.
I love Sam's title here, though. It's Dave Rubin says it's okay to be racist about immigration.
My Pillow or Mike Lindell canceled.
My Pillow or Mike Lindell canceled.com.
Always magically find.
This is the main event. All right.
Okay. I'm gonna put it on fast forward.
Well, it's not a Hasan video, to be clear.
I know. I'm just gonna put it on 125 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is like America bad, America bad, America bad, America bad. Like there's nothing beyond that. Any argument from chat, he yells for 5 minutes, America bad. Like that's it. It's juvenile.
True.
It's like an unwillingness to critically engage with the complexities of.
I say this all the time.
All I heard was that intro, and I go, "That's going on the list."
America operates on the boundaries of self-interest. That's it. It's that
simple.
Side that's trying to stop the genocide. It's done. It's very obvious. If people start blowing up like random parts of America because there's ammo depots there, like what are we talking about? You can't do that. You are the United States of America. You're like 8,000 miles away from this area, and you've decided like I'm gonna blow up your weapons depot. Like this makes no sense. Just
we're the United States of America, for God's sake.
He's attacked international
American. They can go ahead. Attack a weapons depot. There's not even stuff you can attack them, and they're not. Guess who does it? Guess who does it? Guess who attacks America targets that are in the U.S. all the time?
ISIS.
Huh? No, fucking Iran. Like they do it all the time. Like, come on, Hasan. Yes, they can do it. They do it. Let them do it here too. Go ahead, try.
Yeah, try. See what happens.
I mean, it's only fair.
Yeah.
Why don't they? They scared?
Probably. I would imagine so.
Huh? I feel like every time I hear this get described, the impression I get from the description is that the U.S. like for no reason just moseyed on 10,000 miles east to like bomb Yemen. Like,
I will never understand. I know it makes a lot of people's dicks hard to think like, oh, they're doing this and we're showing our might.
It does
towards a population of people that we had.
I guarantee you, a majority. If I ask my mom, if I text my mom right now, and I said, hey, what do you think is happening in Yemen? And remember, like I've been like reporting on Yemen for a decade, right? Like. When I was writing about the blockade and the fucking editors were telling me that nobody is going to click this shit, outlet after outlet after outlet, as I tried to get attention to what Saudi Arabia was doing to Yemen. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody talked about it. None of these people gave a shit. Suddenly, because the Jews are involved.
It's all the Jews. It's always the Jews. The Jews are always involved. Didn't you know?
I would have loved to see the strikes that just happened instead of a blockade, in hindsight. Like I like the blockade did nothing to degrade the Houthis, just like these strikes will do nothing. The bombing the Houthis is so pointless. We've been over this so many times about because, like, first of all, there's a way to fucking end this without fucking conflict, and it's to fucking tell Israel to go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
like just do that. And like on a lot of the big thing about the Houthis is that all of this is a big W for them.
Yeah,
they're on the world stage now, where they weren't before. Nobody knew who they were. They wanted the big thing is they wanted the attention. They got it.
Yeah. All they needed to do was stick up for Palestine, I guess.
Well, that's what Assad does. That's what they all do, and that's how they get the credibility.
True.
Maybe America should try it.
basically, and not directly genociding, indirectly genociding with a regional proxy. Like we outsourced our genocide of the Yemeni population to Saudi Arabia. Okay?
No. Look, Hasan, you can compare it to what's happening in Palestine now. We continued selling them weapons while they did it. Like, we did not outsource shit.
Yeah,
this is all Saudi Arabia. That's why Saudi Arabia is the one who did the blockade. And that's why Saudi Arabia is the one who led the negotiations to end the war. Okay, Hasan? Would you believe it? Countries are independent. They can commit genocide on their own will.
You get no benefits from this, dog. They're not even doing this for your security.
Hey, Hasan, is the Kurdish? Are the Kurds being killed by Turkey? Is that part of the proxies? Is that a proxy genocide, Hasan? What about that one?
He doesn't care about that.
Oh, that's right.
Are going to end up making me sympathize with the like liberals in the UK, who like, the Labour Party's anti-Semitic, whatever. Dude, come on, holy shit! I really do. There's like a horseshoe theory thing or whatever, where there's like a group of people who understand that America is the big dog here, and that Israel is like we keep around and we defend because of like a regional proxy wedge against Iran and like other stuff or whatever. And then like on both the far right and the far left, there's the belief that Israel is actually calling the shots. You know, I don't know. Very frustrating.
Bro, I do not understand it.
Well, it's just the lefties can't afford policy anymore. They used to be able to. You know?
So it's additionally odd when Americans are like, well, they're going to find out why we don't have healthcare. And it's like, bro, you really think that's chill? You just said it's cool that you don't have healthcare because America gets the aid and abet in genocide.
Does anyone really think that?
Aid and abet in genocide by attacking depots that were firing drones and missiles at civilian vessels in the Red Sea.
Hasan has said himself in the past that like doing the healthcare system would save them money. So there is no reason. There's always money there if it generates money. So
right now, that is what you would be saying. But when America's doing it, it's like, no, actually, you don't get it, dog. This is, I'm doing profound foreign policy analysis here. Okay, let me tell you, I somehow always magically find the exact triangulated position that America is good. Actually, they're trying their best. You see, two of some of the worst genocide.
Wait. Every foreign policy analysis is saying we shouldn't bomb the Houthis. It's a bad idea. It's going to do nothing.
And they did it anyway.
Hasan, do you read any foreign policy? Do you know anything about foreign policy? Clearly, no, you don't.
He can't read.
Oh, true.
Yemen, a country that they were, dishing out their regional actors to do a genocide in. Shortly after that genocide is
looking at here, the Hudson Institute or some shit?
The guys that were doing the genocide.
Not sure.
Speeches like this are meant to sound good to lefties because they appeal to the vibes that people on the left are sympathetic to. There's a bunch of like vague allusions to the imperial, colonial, and genocidal tendencies of the U.S. and the UK, which exist certainly. That's why the vibe impression works. The truth of the matter is that this is purely about international maritime trade, and precision strikes were taken against Houthi targets. This has literally nothing to do with genocide. It has nothing whatsoever to do, even with the broader population of Yemen. It's a specific response to a specific
this entire situation could have been avoided by the United States taking a stand.
Of course it could.
So it does have something to do with genocide.
Hearing vaguely this like, oh wow, two imperial nations coming together to attack a country that's been the victim of a genocide funded by the United States. That's not wrong. That's true. But it also doesn't speak to
When has Germany done like anything in the last fucking decade? They can't even decide what troops to send to Ukraine.
It's focusing on the points that are irrelevant to distract you from the ones that are relevant, which, it doesn't actually answer anything. It doesn't resolve anything or give you any understanding of the conflict. There's a reason why so many of the people in chat who have questioned me on this seem to be coming from a place of literally no knowledge. There are a lot of people in chat. Basically, everyone I've seen on Twitter or in
Mr. Vaush, known foreign policy understander who never gets taken.
Not to say that there's no way to legitimately disagree with me. You can. That's fine. But a lot of people who disagree just don't seem to know what the is going on, or they don't seem to understand what maritime trade is. So as a consequence of that, it's like you don't even have the grounds to disagree with me. You could know more to disagree with me, but you don't know enough to disagree with me. And I feel like a lot of these people are Hasan viewers. I don't know, like it's violence-based analysis, like it's not to say,
I agree.
There's no validity to bringing up the fact that America, participation in genocide, assisting Saudi Arabia in the many dead in Yemen, that kind of thing. But like by qualifying only those points, you're misleading people on the actual cause and like consequences of this conflict. It's very much like an aesthetic position. It's very aesthetically charming. You know, it's very aesthetically compelling.
Aesthetically,
the good guys here, I think. Yeah. Genuine question: why does everyone complain about the supposed America is bad takes you have? Isn't there enough proof to show that they are bad? Yes, because they. You know what the reason why?
See, that's it. That's the that's the vibes take that I'm talking about right there.
Yeah,
why
exactly.
are people contesting your belief that America bad? Isn't America bad? Like, this has nothing to do with what's being discussed, but like that's the important aesthetic point that they feel the need to constantly reaffirm. You know, it's like a big like drum circle where everyone's chanting like, well, you know, America bad, America bad. Like you have to remind yourself always, hey, talking point A, talking point B. Okay, but America bad, right? Yeah, America bad, America bad. Again, it's vibes.
America bad.
Aesthetics.
People get very mad at that because liberals fancy themselves to be like intellectually superior.
Hasan, it's because you literally say that like Nazis are good.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's we're like, I was talking to somebody today and like they were like, I feel like some of these people would support Hitler today.
Mm-hmm. They certainly
and I go,
would.
in the context of if he was fighting Israel, yes.
Mm.
And the person thought that, not like a person responded that thinking that I was saying I would support Hitler if he was fighting Israel, right? Because of like how because I said in the context of fighting Israel, yes,
Yeah.
you know, as in like that was my point. No,
Mm.
but I was like, they were like, wait, what are you saying? And I go, I'm saying that you would support Hitler if they were fighting Israel. And the guy responds with, yeah, you're right. The Jewish question is always the he was like, Hitler went a little too far with the nationalism, but not far enough with the Holocaust. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
That was way too easy. Like, it was way too easy to bring out.
Fucking hell. What was that, Hasan?
Hitler wasn't fucking bad because he was fucking killing Jews. Okay? That wasn't the main problem with Hitler, I think. That was like maybe
Jesus.
8th down the line.
Oh,
Christ, man. You need to chill the fuck out.
He really said that, not edited at all.
They referenced the Protocols of Elder Zion. I mean, I wrote that book. That's a great book.
He wrote that book.
Not identified.
And this, by the way, this is like the lefty, like you, mom and dad aesthetic that so many of the young viewers in Hasan's chat like. They love the idea that the discourse that's happening right now is lefties wisely proclaiming America bad, and liberals hearing that going, no, America good, as if liberals haven't since the Iraq War.
I don't like
been
honestly
doing the
like
whole,
when somebody's calling into question Duma, it's like, why would anyone vote for you, bro? Like, what are you doing?
True.
Discourse they're on is literally decades out of date.
That's so much more
Liberals have been
controversial.
performatively
Anything
indicating
he's
that
done.
America is a fallen country full of dipshits and rednecks for decades now. There's a highly classist element to it in a lot of cases, you know? The reasons why they say America bad may not be the same ones that lefties do, but like the idea that liberals are like balking at this, they're like waging a shower war. They're having a battle in their minds, you know, against the liberal
Not you,
that is
though.
their mother and their father, which
No,
is,
of
you know,
course not.
again, not relevant to the situation in Yemen.
With, but when it comes to foreign policy, if you are pro-American global dominance, you are identical to a hog. That's it.
See, that's it. If you think that piracy of international maritime trade is bad, it's because you're pro-American dominance. Never mind the fact that it's an international coalition and the UN Security Council backed the vote prior without the dissent from Russia or China. They could have said no. They could have ruled no, but they didn't, you know? But no, this is America doing it. The only reason America and the UK are the ones handling it is because A, the UK wants to buddy along because they want something to do, you know? Their country's done, why not? And America just has so many boats, you know? Like, choo-choo, big boats.
The difference between a
Right,
hog
squad.
and a liberal is that on its foundations, they still come from the same place, American exceptionalism, and America has to be the world police. Just the hog says more slurs while conducting.
This is such like I'm 5 and this is smart leftist analysis. Yeah, that's the difference between liberals and conservatives. Yeah, that's true. You know, I mean, neocons are liberals, and there's an analysis to be made there in terms of social perspectives. But right now, neoconservatives are the vast minority in government. Like the conservatives in government are fascist aligned, which means that they're
True.
not like this isn't the far right in American government is making the same talking points as the left. They're doing the like fake isolationist thing about Biden starting another war in the Middle East. You know, like this analysis just doesn't work. It doesn't translate.
Itself and making an argument. The liberal, on the other hand,
Also,
that is not
like,
a
it's
hog,
so
the Democratic
funny.
Party-
It's so the people are like people think that it's like a big deal. It's like, do you understand like how often IRGC targets are bombed?
Mm. Yeah.
Where's the war?
That is the war.
There is like, did you see? I was making fun of Iran because they tried to, like, they can't get America because they're in Kurdistan, so the only thing they can do in the north is like pretend to like do a fake vote and shit.
No, I didn't say that.
Because like I think we talked about this, but like the opposition to the Iranian party in Iraq after they killed Soleimani, the opposition also made it that Iranians had to leave Iraq as well, along with the Americans. And the Americans pulled out except for Kurdistan, but the Iranians stayed and sent more in. So they're in direct violation of the bill that they passed already.
Sweet.
And so the only thing they can do, because they literally can't, all they can do is like give a few American bases some concussions, right? And like James is constantly screeching about this bombing is the one, this bombing is the one, but it's never the one, right? So they literally they're holding a vote to like basically say that like America again has to withdraw from Iraq when they have no jurisdiction over the area that America is in. It's not Iraq. It's literally recognized by Iraq to not be Iraq. It's in their constitution now. Like it says it. It says that it's not Iraq.
Where are they?
Kurdistan.
Yeah, but what city?
Oh, the Americans are throughout Kurdistan, but mainly concentrated in Erbil, Howler.
Okay.
Yeah. They're where Turkey isn't about to bomb. That's where the Americans are.
Yeah, okay.
Voter still has the same interest, still wants the same things to happen, but they don't say
it's just not like by hog. Do we mean neocon like John McCain type? Because if that's the case, I think there is some validity to the analysis. But if by hog we mean like MAGA Republican, then no, the material interests differ significantly there. It's vague on purpose. Yeah, it is vague on purpose. It doesn't mean anything, you know.
Yeah. Welcome to Hasan.
With neocon. Okay, but like, who's a neocon anymore? When was the last time you saw a neocon? You know what? I like, if he's referring to Republicans broadly, this is just factually incorrect.
As many slurs, they think it's like kind of mean and rude to champion genocide while simultaneously also saying that you're championing genocide.
What does this mean? What does this mean? Liberals think it's mean to be pro-genocide, but they say they're pro. What is this vague vibe based? This doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you're watching a Hasan video. He doesn't say anything ever.
Bombing Yemen so that the pressure Israeli occupation regime can continue its genocide of Gaza, and the Western media and political class are cheering it on and celebrating. The same ones who demanded every nation on earth do everything for Ukraine. I guess the analog is basically like, what would we do in the situation? You know, like America already did this against Russia to a certain degree. What Yemen is doing.
We engaged in piracy and civilian vessels. And
the fuck is he talking about?
What?
But if like Estonia tried,
wait, can you qualify that? We did? I wasn't aware of that. We did that? We just started randomly attacking ships somewhere in the ocean because of Russia? Did we do that?
Tried to do this to Russia, right?
New.
As Russia was like blowing up Ukraine, everyone was celebrated. Everyone be like, "Oh, thank God, there's someone out there that's like doing the righteous thing."
What is he talking about?
Are we talking about preventing Russian military ships from leaving the Estonia? Blockade Russia.
You think Google's going to help you?
What are we? I don't even know what we're referring to. Estonia blockade Russia. I don't know what we're referring to. The closest thing that happened was a Georgian ship refused to refuel a Russian military ship. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm like baffled. I have no clue what he's talking about.
Yeah, he made it up.
Sanctions. Well, that's all we're talking about. Yemen can sanction Israel. I don't care. Sure, yeah, for all the, but that'll do.
Not the best source.
Know who the Houthis are, where they live, why we are bombing.
Did I mention that?
Authority under the
I saw a headline. And it said, how do we stop Iran from like supplying and funding the Houthis? And I'm like, oh God, please don't. I spent a decade trying to end a fucking blockade that was meant to do that. You don't. You shut the fuck up.
What'd they say?
I didn't read it. I just saw the headline and I had fucking flashbacks.
Yeah.
The amount of fucking emaciated babies I've seen from Yemen.
Yeah.
30%.
I'm not contesting the idea that Americans are brain dead.
GOP voters support bombing Agrabah, the city from Aladdin. America has a ton of blockades on.
It's Agrabah, you cockhead.
If I recall correctly, not Agrabah, Hasan.
It's not at war with, yeah. The statement from Biden on the airstrikes in Yemen, Gaza, of course, not mentioned once. Statement from President Joe Biden on coalition strikes in Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. Today, at my direction, U.S. military, together with the United Kingdom and with support from Australia,
I have to say, it is very validating for me to watch
Represent.
Hasan do the same thing that I do, where he gets tired of reading enormous blocks of text, so he just kind of slurs his way through it and skips, like, whatever he can to get the point across. I sympathize with that unironically. Reading a bunch of text is so annoying.
in Canada and the Netherlands successfully conducted strikes against a number of targets in Yemen used by Houthi rebels to endanger freedom of navigation in one of the world's most vital waterways. The strikes are in direct response to unprecedented Houthi attacks against international maritime vessels of the Red Sea, including the use of anti-ship ballistic missiles for the first time.
What
in history.
Hasan is
These attacks have
doing
endangered
is
US
essentially
personnel,
what
civilian
Google
mariners,
does when
and our
you
partners
highlight
jeopardize
text and
trade
press read
and threaten freedom
aloud.
of navigation. So
That's
why
what-
are
He's
they
not
doing this?
reading.
Is a question I would
He's
love to
just
ask. Like, why are
dictating.
they?
So here's a question, by the way. Why would a presidential statement on a strike on Yemen include the
Orating
Houthis'
is probably a
disingenuous
better word.
explanation for why they're randomly attacking civilians? Like, if a bunch of terrorists took over a bank and started killing civilians, would the police statement need to say, like,
It's not
by the way, here's a
terrorism anymore.
paragraph of how they're saying they're doing this for peace in the Middle East, and like, let's dedicate some time to explain how this is actually like a sincere and genuine effort on their part to, bring about. I don't think that would happen. I think all he really needs to do is explain what the military strike is.
And
why it's being
like
done.
I
Which he
said
did,
this in my
why
analysis
he
that
would
I
do-
wrote on this is like the true victory of the Houthis here is the fact that it took this long for America to do something. It
Yeah.
shows how effective they are.
Dedicating
What
any
other
time,
country
like-
would do what the Houthis just did and not
true.
get an immediate response?
Not many.
Providing their justification for piracy. That doesn't really seem like his priority.
Implementing a blockade. Why has America killed more than they have? You can't just meme away from the Houthis have done. They've been trying to topple the Yemeni government for 30 years, of which had normal.
What
relations with the
Yemeni
Middle East.
government?
Why aren't we talking about Iran-sponsored Shia militant groups all over the Middle East? The rise up against Sunni governments, which are much more in favor of normalization with Western powers in Israel. Not that Sunnis are innocent in killing Shiites, but this is a 1,000-year conflict that's not going to change. I'm done.
No, it's not.
What do you mean, dude?
Are
Normalizing
you
with
done?
Western powers-
Please. Please tell me it's true. Please be done. Quit. Please.
Like,
leave. Delete your channels. Smash your setup.
Yeah, the true
Or your
victory,
computer.
the response didn't do anything. But everyone could have told them the response. They knew the response wasn't going to do anything. Here's the thing. It's like, you know how we were saying, oh, those strikes weren't aimed at the Japanese, right? These strikes were not aimed at the Houthis. The thing is that with what the Houthis were doing, we had to have done something or else it would have set a precedent.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
we didn't have to do anything. I'm just saying, like, I think this is what their philosophy really was. This is why it took them so long. It's like the Houthis really attempted and did cross a red line. Before it was just like a little poke here, a little poke there, right?
Yeah.
But they really crossed the red line purposely, trying to get the strikes to happen. What they have been trying to do is get strikes to happen.
Yeah. Because then it's a favorable propaganda for their cause.
Mm-hmm.
Like
also, some of these events that happened were the IRGC, and the Houthis are independent from the IRGC, right? So there's also Houthi targets that are paying for what the IRGC did. Is that fair?
Probably not.
But are we going to bomb Iran inside Iran?
They already do.
Sometimes.
And he didn't really say much about the Biden statement, apart from like, why didn't Biden give the steel man of the Houthi terrorism argument?
In Israel, what are we talking about? Hello? Are you familiar with Western powers in Israel and what they're doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we impugning that chat if we're talking about irrelevant shit while invoking the Saudi Arabian genocide of Yemen in a conversation about the current like Red Sea piracy discourse?
You have America's boot shoved so far up your ass that it's coming out of your mouth when you have.
This is like every response, right? Like this is like anytime anyone in chat does it's like this sort of like performative 2-minute hate where it's like, you are pro-America, which I'm sure a lot of the people he says this are, but I feel like this is all he does,
Yeah, it is. That's
Conversation.
why
You
his
just
content
immediately
is
take it for granted.
garbage.
Like, your standard of modernity is how well they get along with two imperial
Is that
powers
when you
in the
get
region,
time off
two
after having a
destabilizing
baby?
forces in the region that have killed more than anyone else. That is unimaginable. I know.
Is he unironically arguing that the Houthis represent more stable governance in Yemen than the original Yemeni government does? Well, I think he actually is arguing. I think he's legitimately saying the Houthis are more anti-West than the previous Yemeni government.
Listen, the Houthis, not what they're doing now, but the thing that happened is that the old president, you can distill it down to Sunni Shia and say the old president was Shia. But he was also from the same like regional sect. He wasn't in the Houthi territory, but the known allies that have been allies in the past, right? He was ousted by his vice president, who's Saudi backed, and Sunni. So you could say it's Sunni and Shia, but that's all bullshit. That's like ISIS shit, you know. Like I only see that from like the hardest of hard Islamists about like just being anti-Shia just because they're Shia. And so the Houthi stood up to a literal coup that was undemocratic. Like they technically were supposed to be backing the vice president. Now it's them. Now they're the state, you know? But they were backing a guy at one point.
Or the current, I guess, technically Yemeni government. So that means that they're actually better. All right.
Me 11 days to yell at a chatter, but god damn, what a
Listen, okay? Child marriage and slavery are actually very stable and authentically Middle Eastern cultural practices, all right? So actually, by promoting those, the Houthis are more authentic representatives of the interests of the Yemeni people than the previous government.
idiotic approach to the subject, dude. That's insane. That's your standard? Wow, I can't believe how
The
good
Houthis
Saudi
and
Arabia
the
is
previous
in the region
government both
because
do
of
it.
how aligned they are with Western powers in Israel, even though they're doing a genocide in Yemen or they conducted it. If this is your standard of
Calm
who's a good
down.
operative in the region, then yeah, you are morally righteous. Except this is an incredibly idiotic way to assess the situation.
Didn't the chatter say Iran, Saudi Arabia? I don't know.
How else is there going to be stability? Brother, please.
He sounds
I
like
beg
Charlie
of you,
from It's Always Sunny
just
when he
take
gets
a
mad.
deep breath and really think about your output here. You are a
Okay, this is going to be like a long bit on the chatter thing. It's probably going to happen more too. Hold on.
at them when you can use them as a talking point against
Oh my
whatever
God, he's still
current
going.
adversary of leadership do not have the balls to take a stand against. Oh my God. Listen, the Houthis may use
God,
child
he
soldiers to
annoys
force
me
women to
so
be brides, but
much.
they aren't against the Western hegemony. Brother, why do you think this is a good talking point?
Okay, wait. There are responses that you could make to this, Hasan. I just want to see you make them, okay? I want to see you make these talking points, all right? Like, so here's a good example, right? Hamas, in terms of like the average political prescription of a member of Hamas, is significantly more reactionary than your average person in Israel, you know?
True.
The difference really is a matter of access to power. Hamas is a weak insurgent group, and Israel is a fully militarily industrialized modern nation, meaning that fascist tendencies in Israel are much more capable of being acted upon.
True.
Nonetheless, I defend the Palestinians and even the idea of Hamas like engaging in defensive action on the behalf of Palestinians because they're in a position where A, their reactionary tendencies are a consequence of the material forces in the region that are not their fault, like what
True.
Israel has done to them, and B, it's kind of like a what alternative situation, right? How far has diplomacy gotten the Palestinians? So I think you could legitimately say
Far,
look,
actually.
do a lot of bad things.
Until
Instability
Netanyahu.
in the region usually tends
Yeah.
to promote fascist strongmen and religious zealots, and those are all things that Houthis have used to like construct their power base. You know, the Houthis have sort of like desperately cobbled together a bunch of political and religious prescriptions as a way of gathering together as much support as they can in the more populated regions of Yemen, and a lot of those are negative because they've had to appeal to like conservative traditions and more like rural regions, and that means shit like slavery and child soldiers to an extent because those like hierarchical tendencies get reified.
Oh yeah, because the Houthis were like, "Oh, we're forced to take these child soldiers." You know what would be like really cool though, if like people watching like totally like shared the stream and gave it a like.
Yeah, do that. We always forget. Yeah. Insert YouTube typical plug thing.
It's
Pop
called the
up,
call to
subscribe
action.
button and shit.
It's called. I mean, I could make one of
That
those.
that stuff. You know.
I can make one of those.
I can't remember where the button is.
What?
That way?
Oh,
I
the
think they're
subscribe
that way.
button. I think it depends on what
I-
device they're using.
I think it's that way, or it's like here, or something.
I think it depends on the device.
Yeah, whatever. Just do that, please.
But all of these things are a consequence of regional instability that we've contributed to. That, by the way, what I just did right there, that's a correct argument. I did it. I did it.
Crazy.
Did you see? Did you see me do that?
I am going to skip forward 10 minutes because this is like an hour and 20
I made a
minutes.
correct argument when I said that the Houthis were totally forced to take child slaves.
Houthis, the Nazis like the Houthis for the same reason that Andrew Tate pretended to be Muslim, because radical Islamists tend to be very anti-Semitic, and they like using them as a wedge.
I'd be
against
careful
Muslims,
saying that.
and they're benefiting
Vaush.
substantially
Mhm.
from the current
Look,
like discourse.
You
being
should
launched against
never,
Israel.
never. It's
Make
just
absolute statements on groups.
You just shouldn't say people are pretend Muslims. That's ISIS shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the part of the Muslim world, the people they hear that from all the time are the most fascist fuckers alive, right? So when you what you have to understand is like the conservatives, they did this like thing where it was like somebody who was like non-binary or something who was getting really into the Quran, and they hosted a video, and everyone was like, wait until the Islamists see this, wait until the Muslims see this, wait, who's gonna tell her, or who's gonna tell it, is probably what they said, right? And like all like literal guys in Al-Qaeda are sharing this and being like, what, you mean that like, you know, like she's totally welcome into Islam, and like if she starts to read and understand the Quran, then she would change, or he or she or whatever, you know, like all the like the Islamists were being like the most progressive about this. So
hilarious.
When Tate, I literally like Taliban like literally put me in my place with this, because I said like Tate is just doing this because he knows that everyone would be against him.
Yeah. Like
right?
Everything he does is calculated. Like he's not a stupid person.
Well, the thing is, with the Taliban said, it doesn't matter. It's like only time is going to show that, and until then, maybe like if he actually, even if he's pretending, right? They believe that if he's even pretending and he takes the Quran and interprets any lessons of the Quran, then he can change, right? This is like a fundamental belief, and this is like a Taliban telling me this. So so, and also Andrew Tate has actually been helping feed the Palestinians this whole time. Nobody talks about that.
Well, that's the private charity he always talks about. Like he definitely does the private charity. That's not that's not a disputed thing. It also doesn't make him any less of a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, and the thing is like we can say that he's doing it to exploit Islam. Okay,
people are getting fed. Sure. Cool. Okay. Right, deal with it later.
DJ Khaled promotes gambling. You know, like this. Like honestly, I see Islamists more mad at DJ Khaled now because he's Palestinian, and like his ads on gambling show up underneath these types of posts. You know, and every time I'm like, bro, plays with Light Bright. What do you expect? Like,
that's awesome.
You know, because like he's proven himself to be like a Muslim. You know, like. So then he can invoke more criticism. So it's like the thing is, it's like they're kind of like the door is open to Tate just because he expressed interest in Islam.
Same way that the jawless, chinless Iowa Nazis behave. Oh, I know I can't get a job, and I don't want to examine the material conditions. Everyone has told me that as a white man, I'm supposed to be so powerful.
Seriously, what does any of this have to do with that?
It's a schizo rant, Vaush.
Who out here is supporting the strike?
He does them all the time.
I have not seen anyone supporting the strike on the Houthis on the basis of like, haha, they're dumb Muslims. Maybe Ben Shapiro? I guess like Ben Shapiro types, people with like neocon aligned perspectives. I don't really know. Maybe, but like the actual white supremacists and Nazis tend to be anti-Israel, and for that reason, they're supporting the Houthis. Like you can go look at clips of Nick Fuentes
Jackson Hinkle
on Twitter right now.
And none of that happened. So what must be
that Nazi Swedish doctor that always posts the anti-trans stuff?
Oh, she's Swedish?
She's a Scandinavian of some sort. I'm pretty sure she's Swedish. She definitely looks Swedish. And one of the other Nazi grifter types in that network.
Ian Miles Strong?
No. Someone like in that specific network that like. No, it was someone like the Jackson Hinkle circles, like that sort of type. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's all these the compromised Russian like propaganda types, all pro-Palestine, pro-Houthis, just purely based on the fact that they're against Israel. But then Jackson Hinkle hasn't he been arguing for Israel? No, he's been arguing for Palestine.
No, he's been using it's like literally like all like I see like a lot of like again, like the hardest of the hard people being like, fuck this guy. He apologizes for Bashar al-Assad. He denies the Uyghur genocide. He doesn't speak for Muslims. He's gaming the system.
Excellent. Love it. Fantastic. That's really good. It's good to see.
The real problem.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm gonna go.
Real
dominate black
Islamists don't
people
fuck
real
around.
quick.
They know what's going on in the world. They may not have freedom to pressure the government to do what they see, but that's the whole reason why they join revolutionary groups.
Mm-hmm.
In Yemen, I have no idea what we're talking about right now at this moment. In the current moment, I genuinely this feels like it's not projection. It's just I feel like all of the talking points are being rolled together, like it's Katamari Damacy, and he's just like collected all of the like vaguely adjacent talking points together into a kind of I have no idea. It's leftist slop content. It kind of is, yeah. I usually think of slop.
Isn't he about to go to Russia or something and be a slave in Russia and revoke his citizenship? I saw something.
God, I fucking hope so.
Did you see that his handler left? Her contract expired.
Yeah, I did. Hilarious. I'll take his citizenship.
Yeah, you should. You shouldn't watch Scott Ritter. He's like you can just look at his record and
don't like ban him. Abuse him anytime you can.
He's a piece of shit.
Cyberbully Scott Ritter.
Mm-hmm.
Their own sets of expectations with regards to like quality and behavior and what have you. But like, I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, leftist word salad slop. I don't know. All vibes.
I'm gonna go act like I am superior to them. I am descendant of the Nord Vikings.
I'm fucking better
not.
than you.
What are you talking about?
Just like that Nazi is a loser. You are the exact same kind of loser. Instead of looking for some esoteric, mythical Nordic
where are you
that
finding
identify
this?
With, you have identified with being an American pig.
He's going insane.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are all domestic
I don't even remember what the original thing he was responding to said.
Being a capitalist warmonger. You don't even have like any kind of mythology associated with it. It is just indiscriminate bombing campaigns done for ExxonMobil. Done for...
What do you... Yeah, dog. ExxonMobil, Operation Prosperity. Yeah, dude, it's all the talking points just rolling together. This is the Iraq War. This is the Vietnam War. Imperial bounty. We're starting a war with Iran. World War III. You're a Nazi. You're a capitalist. You're a warmonger. You hate black people. You're like, yeah, it's like whatever, dude. Just toss it all at the wall. See what sticks. You know,
the Houthis attacked Bangladesh in this.
You're bourgeoisie. You're a kulak. You know,
they attacked Singapore.
Oh my god.
Wealthy, powerful individuals that will consistently fuck you. They will fuck you over and over again. You have no identity.
Not you, though. You're not wealthy or powerful.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how it's marketed, right?
You're grabbing on to what
we
remains
have a name
of
for
America's
fantasy
industry,
realized.
Complex,
it's called
and all of its output.
Nightmare.
That is so sad.
You're a diehard Raytheon fan if you oppose piracy of any kind. It's just,
Fix your life, chatter. Jesus Christ, dude. Is wild, absolutely wild to be writing this hard for American corporations and American imperial.
Which corporations are we referring to? Which ones? Which corporations? Which ones?
I'm glad he's saying it because
to help you.
He's doing see that you don't have to put as much effort into watching his son. Vaush does it for you.
I'm sorry, would having a cohesive... Wait, first of all, that has nothing to do with what's being talked about. For two, why would we want a cohesive national identity? That's assimilationist rhetoric. The whole point of America is to be pot. Like, there are tons of regional differences culturally between different states, regions within the state. What does that even mean? So, like,
yeah, that's the beauty of America.
This is why you have to be careful about anyone who's anti-US, because the networks go really, really deep. And that's why, like, our policy is anti-everyone. Like honestly, the only state we've really said nice things about is Ukraine.
Pretty much,
you know?
And that's
like
only
that's
really,
pretty much the only one we said nice things about.
And that's only really out of generosity because they're currently being besieged.
Yeah.
Like there are issues with Ukraine. Like the reason that they're not getting money is because they are the most corrupt country on the planet. Or might as well fucking be.
They have been dealing with it though effectively. But
yes, they have been
with a lot of help. You know.
Yeah.
And also
their joining of NATO is.
There's a question. There's also a question that you could ask with if it's exactly legal how they're pursuing anti-corruption policies. You could ask that. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure of all the countries that they've went after. I know that they did hit. I think they hit a Russian oil ship like today as well, because they didn't have their like whatever the IFF is, whatever you call it for maritime shits, the tracker. Everyone knows there's corruption issues. Everyone knows it. You know how you deal with corruption? Not be at war.
Yeah, if you want to know how you actually get rid of corruption, get rid of the government.
Yeah, that's true. and just the capitalism too.
Yeah.
Ukraine can do it too. They can empower the farmers.
Like as long as people are climbing over each other to get $1, then it's pointless. There's no hope.
Yeah, Russia is. The thing is that we could say Russia's literally worse. There's evidence of that. The thing is that there is no actual way to like measure how corrupt a country is.
It's all perception.
So, but the thing is like the reason why I think Jack said Ukraine is because some of the only hard documents we have is that Ukraine was mentioned more in the leaks that came out about corruption reports. And that's really the main reason why you would say something like that. I would think.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure Zelensky embezzled billions. Right? Or he like sold off land, something like that.
Well, also he was backed by an oligarch himself.
That too, yeah. But he himself is a billionaire.
Yeah, so
like there are definitely criticisms here. Right?
He's still democratically elected, though.
Exactly. So it's like there are always criticisms. It doesn't mean just because we have been complimenting it that we don't see these criticisms. Unlike a lot of these fucking people.
And also, like nobody talks about Lebanon.
Views.
Like you want to talk about corruption, bro?
Yeah.
Were they in that paper?
Yeah. I mean, just go listen to our Lebanon episode for fuck's sake. Like it was one of our early ones, but it still goes over it. Like we talk a lot about it. Like it's a pretty corrupt country.
Yeah, and they used laws that were written in the Ottoman Empire to enable the corruption.
Crazy.
To this, it's like incoherent bullshit. What? I genuinely have no idea. It sounds like Nas bullshit almost. Yeah, I don't know. Certainly, the arguments he's making here don't sound any meaningfully different from the kind that you would see from like Nick Fuentes on the subject, right?
Yeah, that's literally the point. Together. Like, that's the corruption. That's the point.
Hasan doesn't just exempt it; he defends both. He tries to say that he will be like the genocide is over against the Uyghurs, but then he'll say why China did it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Literally, like he was defending America, like if you're like America's police policies.
Anyone who's socialist should not be pro Xi Jinping.
No, not at all.
Like you can also be anti like Deng Xiaoping and all the other guys too, and be pro Mao if you want, but not Xi.
Yeah,
like that's the worst one for sure.
The only glue that holds Americans together is this like weird American identity of dominating other countries that are way poorer than we are.
Yeah, that's true. That's the cultural thread that binds. That's definitely true.
I lived in America for 6 months, and even I know that's
American
not true.
Politics, and not like a 14-year-old sophomoric, like I just realized the Iraq War is a bad thing. The only thing America has in common is that they like being evil. Okay.
It's so
That's
sad.
such a funny
every
insult.
single time.
How long does this go on? This isn't even about Yemen.
Institute our might.
Yeah, welcome to Hasan.
Bases up, and we blow their weapon supplies, and we're like, yeah, those guys are the bad guys.
This is why I
think we're doing
skip
something
him.
good, but like when we steal their natural resources.
When Yemen, are we doing that right now? It's the Iraq War. Everything is the Iraq War. Everything is the Iraq War. All foreign policy is the Iraq War. The Iraq War. It's all the Iraq War. The boats are their national resources.
Civilians were killed, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do.
We're actually stealing their scrap metal. We're taking their natural resources.
At the end of the day, you don't even get a crumb of that.
Yeah, U.S. corruption is legal. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's true.
Is technically what corruption is? It's lobbying that's not on the books. That's really all it is.
And that happens all the time.
So as long as it's on the books, it's not corruption.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can stock buybacks and insider trading when you control the markets and are able to predict how the markets act because you're the one regulating them. Crazy how that works. It's almost like they should be banned from holding stocks, and lobbying should be banned from politics. And that would solve all the fucking problems. And guess what else you wouldn't be doing? America wouldn't be sending weapons to Israel. Crazy. Imagine if lobbying was gone. America would have no obligation to support Israel. None. Not a single fucking one. All of their obligatory support of Israel is because of the lobbying money in America. That's it.
There are like certain things I'm fine with, like defensive air defense missiles. Okay. And then if they want to buy the rounds that they're going to use to kill people, like I'm not exactly fine with that, but it's different than like, hey, Israel, here's a bunch of fucking JDAMs that for the ground war that you're about to wage.
Enriched by efforts at stopping piracy in the Red Sea. But, I guess, yeah, now that I'm looking at it, how it's developing, I'm not even going to get 1 pound of sand shipped to me in a mason jar. The natural resources of Yemen distributed wide across the United States.
If you can't even get healthcare, I love the notion of being like, dog, I hate the Houthis because they have child brides, which is why I want to kill all the child brides.
That's what Operation Prosperity Guardian is doing. We're using high-level American satellite intel to target every married 14-year-old girl in Yemen with precision Tomahawk missile strikes. We're going to use that samurai missile drone thing, the one with the swords. We're going to use that. We're not even going after the pedophile who married them. We're just going after the child brides, So, like, we're using missiles so precise that we'll atomize the child brides while they're standing next to and holding hands.
Fuck yeah, you got it.
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder.
Like Operation Prosperity Guardian.
Couldn't agree more.
With American bombs. Yeah, you know what fixes the child bride situation in Yemen? A Tomahawk missile that taxpayers paid for instead of paying for your dumbass diabetes medication.
No more military aid.
Hi, do you want to know how to fix this? Stop.
You stupid. Here's the difference, by the way. No matter where that chatter.
I know that I often make jokes at people, like with regards to like them being fat or problematic, or whatever. But I feel like a lot of Hasan's rhetoric when it comes back to attacking America, comes back to like a kind of chauvinistic like coastal elite looking down on middle America attitude. Does anyone else get that?
Is this not what I've always fucking said?
So true.
From the first time that I watched him, that was what I got.
I will never understand.
Like, I know. It's like
you are garbage.
Biden. Like, don't get me wrong. I say lots of problematic shit, but the standards by which I hold my stream and he holds him, like he holds his, are different. I feel like you can't even afford your diabetes medication isn't really like a joke that I would make. Partly because I think it strikes too close to home for a lot of people, and also because it's kind of like the implication that like I don't know, like you dumb fat redneck, you don't. Man, this could be me being uncharitable. There are just vibes that I get from him sometimes. I don't know.
Is ideologically, I still want him to get healthcare. I still want him to get a better education. I still want him to find meaning in his life. That's the difference. I don't believe that like just because someone is a dumbass American Nazi that they deserve to get killed.
The Nazis are pro-Houthi. I like, how can you even pretend to be a leftist while being this bad about understanding the discourse? How can you not see that basically every Nazi group has been supporting the Palestinians since October 7th because they've been using it as a way to JQ post? Like, this is not subtle. It's not like a minor shift. It's really obvious.
It's like the tunnels that happened. Like one of the funniest jokes was like, I expect 5 people to be able to make correct jokes about this.
And fix the material.
The fucking tunnels in New York, the synagogue.
Oh, the Jewish tunnels. Yeah.
So somebody was like, I expect 5 total people to make correct jokes about
this. Was there 5? I would expect less.
I mean, did you see the New York Post cover about it?
No.
It's pretty funny. But immediately then that it's like the thing is the initial reporting literally said that they were trying to expand the grounds, which is what
expand what
they're illegally expanding the grounds that they were trying to expand the temple illegally.
Yeah,
that was in the initial reporting.
Like I wish I could have a skill in joke crafting that I could just craft it on the spot without like treading into the dangerous part. Like all of my jokes about Jews and shit all play on like the stereotypes and the the stupid takes from like Nazis and shit, because like that's the most absurd stuff. So that's the stuff that I go to. But I just don't have the necessary, and I would call it a skill, right? It's definitely a skill. I just don't have it. I just wish I had it. That would be fun.
Way harder to just like become a Nazi out of nowhere.
One other statement that's worth pointing
Not
out
true.
here. Austin says a coalition of countries committed to upholding the rules-based international order demonstrated our shared commitment to defending U.S. and international vessels and commercial vessels exercising navigational rights and freedoms from illegal and unjustifiable attacks. The reason I point that out is because normally when you see the U.S. highlighting their action in support of the international rules.
All right, this is the cover. It's just puns.
Bro.
Isn't that fucking great?
That's awesome.
Spark Holy War.
The video of them coming out is hilarious. They're in the walls.
There was a UN
It's
vote.
so the video is absurd. I also heard that it was linked to a different synagogue down the road.
It's complicated. So there's like two sects in Israel, right? And the guys digging the tunnel believed that this dead guy was the Messiah.
Okay.
And he always said that he wanted the temple expanded, so that's why they were doing it.
Awesome. Religious people are something else.
Okay, so the unrelated question about the Americans or Israelis being involved. Well, of course, the first thing the regime said is that the Israelis are involved. ISIS claimed credit for it. There's all evidence pointing to ISIS. The real question is like, how come nobody of worth, if all these people who are of worth were there, but only like the randos died, you know?
It's a conspiracy.
So, yeah, I mean, it depends how deep you want to go with the conspiracy, but do I think the U.S. were involved? I think the type of bombing that happened there wouldn't be something that the U.S. would do, because what we need to understand about Iran is that a lot of these people, like the poorest of the poor in Iran, they go and they basically go, hey, you want $20? And then to make it look like the protest and the support for the government is bigger, they pay people to do these protests. All authoritarian countries do this. You know, it's not something exclusive to Iran. So because we know that, the last thing we're going to want to do is do something where we're going to hit people who technically could be turned against a regime if we care that much to overthrow the regime, which we don't, because if we did, we would have backed the protests that could have overthrown the regime, and we didn't. We basically stood by the regime against the protests.
And what a legitimate cause they were. It could have worked, but nope.
But it is true. I'm kind of not joking. Unfortunately, you know, liberals have a point on this one.
Fucking
when it
libs.
comes to anti-Semitism, the left is not beating the allegations. Literally, what the dude? I don't know. I feel like I should have something more to say here, but watching Hasan uncritically read like Yemeni propaganda from a government member of the Houthis, then looking at his Twitter and immediately seeing JQ posting is so on point that I feel like I don't even need to add to it with any analysis. It just immediately like, oh my god. Yeah, it kind of speaks for itself. Yeah, it kind of does. How do you I always forget how to do this. How do you search on a person's Twitter feed? Like how do you search
Come on.
what this guy has posted?
Really?
Come on.
Not on PC. Ugh.
No, you can do it on PC.
Yes, you.
Oh my god, Brother Spider-Man is wanting to saving me from crazy Iblis.
The PC is like the best place to do advanced searches on Twitter. The fuck
You just have to put their @ in there, bro.
Yeah, no shit. And then quote what you want to find. Hard.
Plus Twitter. So we now have 3 tweets that include the word Zionist in them. And I just want to get a character check. Okay?
I wonder how many times I've tweeted
here's another one where he uses the word Zionist. This was posted a couple days ago. He used the exact same clip of this Israeli settler being horrible to Palestinians. I've seen this.
American.
So this guy keeps posting the same clips of like one Jewish guy being evil. I wonder why. I wonder what his interests are. The primary responsible for the violations taking place in Palestine are the Zionist officials in Western capitals, such as Washington and London, not the Jewish settlers who were tempted to acquire the land and homes of the Palestinians who were expelled from them. Jacob was one of the settlers from New York who justified his ownership of the usurped home of the original owner by saying, if I do not steal it, someone else is going to steal it. Wait, this guy is defending Jewish settlers in the West Bank. Wait, The primary responsible
Not
for the
many.
violations taking place in Palestine are not the Zionist officials in Western capitals of Washington and London, not the Jewish settlers who were tempted to acquire the land.
Most
and
of it is
homes
me
the,
saying how I
weird
don't
take.
say
I didn't even know it's a
Zionist.
name, to be honest. My advice,
and that I don't think is. I searched because he said, "How many times did this guy search Zionist?" And I said, "Let me check." And most of the times that I've used it is how I said that I'm not really using Zionist. I'm going to talk more specifically about who, because it's like at this point it would be like when you're talking about ISIS and just want to say like Islamists, you know?
True.
Like
I like the term. It's a good term.
What?
Zionist.
Well, technically, like at this point, anyone who says that Israel has a right to exist is a Zionist to a lot of people. And so it's like the term has gotten so worn out that not that I think the word is bad and we shouldn't use it. I just think that I should be saying Licudists because that's who I'm actually against. You know, like that's who needs to go because they're the ones stopping the solution. There's plenty of liberal Zionists.
Which solution?
Any solution. Not the final solution, you know? You know, 1 state, 2 state, 3 state, blue state.
No state.
Well, no state is actually an older solution that was about killing all the Palestinians. So it's actually the actual like anarcho no state solution is called the 0 state.
Okay. And it's just kill them all.
No. The no state is no state for Palestinians. That's what it meant. The no state. The 0 state is more about actual like no, you know, nobody gets a state.
Okay. Well, let's go with that one. 0 state for the win. Your state privileges have been revoked. You get no state, and you are now elevated above everybody else. Congratulations. You can celebrate with the Kurds.
Thanks to the U.S. government. People in the world have become more aware of the danger of your immoral foreign policies, and therefore it is no longer in your interest to move to please the Zionist lobby and arms companies at the expense of the security and
Doesn't this sound like Bin Laden?
A little bit.
Zionist entity planted in Palestine. I think the most sussy tweet was the one we found immediately. This guy sure does like to repeat shit, though. Oh.
The distraction from the ICJ chatters. They've been gearing up for this for a while. This is Yahya Sari, spokesman of the Yemen's armed forces.
Well, we don't want to get copyright. We're gonna get a strike. Oh no, Yemen video playing. Better make sure we're covering it and talk over it, or else they'll strike us again.
Against 2 ships linked to these.
Can't have that. Can't cover the news.
That a tiny portion of the shareholder ownership of the company that this ship is chartered underneath is like an Israeli guy. Like, not that they're stopping in Israel or wherever else.
Which one covers it the most?
Association. And then down here they say the Yemeni armed forces reassure all ships heading to all ports across the world, except for Israeli ports, would be safe and must keep the identifying devices open. So wait, hold on a second. Here's the spokesperson for Yemen saying all ships heading to all ports across the sea are fine unless you're heading to or from an Israeli port. But then,
that's factually untrue. We know this to be the case, is that they're not specifically letting through every ship and only hitting Israeli ones. How could they possibly know? They're just hitting every ship. It's full of shit.
Also, I wanted to come back to this question as well. When, because Israel and the U.S. have bombed Iran inside Iran's borders, when those bombings happen, you don't hear about it because the regime doesn't want to look weak. So it's only when terrorist attack happened to the regime that they'll say that it was the Israeli. But like the number 3 of Al Qaeda was killed by Mossad right there in the capital. They drove him on motorbikes and just shot him. Mossad was there the whole time. Mossad allegedly killed the nuclear scientist with a Terminator robot. You know, there's these. We'll see quadcopter attacks that happen against Iran, and they're very limited in scope. But somebody catches it on a cell phone because they're more common now. But what we don't see is like ordinance against like they avoid almost killing people. It's either like you're gonna shoot them, but if you're gonna bomb something, it'll be like factory stuff. You know, like a stockpile for stuff.
People around the Road of Good Hope. Guys, what do we take from this? They're rabble rousers. They don't actually care about Palestinians. They're anti-Semites, and they're galvanizing people against the West.
True.
They had plenty of reasons to do that before, and now they're doing it by engaging in indiscriminate piracy. They're just doing shit. There's no consistency. There's no strategy. They'll say the literal leader, the spokesperson of the Houthis, says you are safe heading through here unless you are headed for Israeli ports. But they lie, because prior to that, including the 2 ships right here, they weren't headed to Israeli ports. Hasan is defending these people.
That we are confronting the Zionist enemy who's aggressing on Palestine and our
Does it help if I cover it on my screen?
I think we just need to skip it.
Most can agree that they are not the greater enemy America and Saudi is. Thank you. That's simply my point. My point is always
most leftists believe ISIS is controlled by Israel. I'm not sure if most believe that, but there's there's a joke in Arabic, and it's like they'll say stuff like, with Iran, they'll say like the road to Israel is through Yemen, because it's like Iran does everything but attack Israel. And so that's the same conspiracy they say with ISIS. It's like ISIS does anything but attack Israel. But ISIS does attack Israel. They were involved in October 7th. And it's not because we found an ISIS flag. That has nothing to do with it. We just Hasan fans, I'm sure. Yes, for sure. A lot of them probably think that ISIS is controlled by Israel because he has a fucking anti-Semitic fan base.
Yeah, we found that out, didn't we?
Why would Israel doesn't need to control ISIS? They have Mossad.
Exactly.
They can kill anyone they want, and they've shown it. Look at fucking Golda. Fucking killing everyone who was involved with the fucking hostages and executions in the Olympics. They hunted down Nazis all across the world and killed them. They don't need fucking ISIS.
Dick right America. You're gonna find like Kurdish people, for example, or even Turkish people.
Kurds mentioned.
Be like, no, America really good actually.
Womp, womp, womp.
No, what?
I want to go down this specific route.
Bro, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said?
I missed it because you were yelling.
You got to go back and listen to what Hasan just said.
You're gonna find like Kurdish people, for example, or even Turkish people as well, that will be like, no, America really good actually. What are you talking?
We really want to go down this specific route with the Kurds.
Where?
Hasan?
Where?
Yeah, where?
I wonder why the Kurds, who have been butchered and oppressed in all of the countries that they live in, might have some pro-American attitudes when America has at points shown solidarity and military support.
At points,
not legitimately or authentically. To be fair, we've been very bad allies.
At points, they said yes, we'll take the guns.
Like Kurds.
Yes, we'll let you be stationed here because it prevents us from being bombed.
Yeah, like America's only.
And America allows it to happen.
Begrudging alliance.
Like literally, if America wasn't supporting Turkey, they wouldn't be getting killed.
Yeah.
America stands by and lets it happen. They're not stupid. They know exactly what's going on.
Pakistan is threatening my border.
That's it, Buster. No more military aid.
Kurds are being mistreated in Syria, Iraq, Turkey, and Iran. I wonder if there's some kind of common thread here. You shouldn't be surprised about this type of rhetoric. He said some insanely racist shit about Kurds many times. Yeah, because to him, Kurds are like the Uyghur Muslims or the Tibetans. The Kurds are like an inconvenient oppressed group, where the oppression they experience is usually done at the behest of anti-American governments. So he has to pretend that the Kurds are like hog people. Oh yeah, the Uyghur Muslims, the Tibetans, they're hog people. They might be oppressed and they might have been colonized or brutalized or murdered, but they're hog people. They're spiritually aligned with the United States because they don't support, the glorious People's Republic of Iran or whatever.
Talking about so much better than the current situation. You go to Iran, there are Shah riders, which is pretty crazy. Most of the Iranians in diaspora are like that. A lot of the Iranians in diaspora are
they're not.
But then you have the Shah riders in Iran still. They ride them super hard, and they say the most embarrassing stuff.
Bro, I think Hasan is so stupid. Do you know by far the Iranian diaspora is Marxist?
Yeah.
More than anything. It's Marxist and then Shah riders.
Like they're very given the opportunity, the country would change immediately.
And you have to think why most of the diaspora are Marxist, because Marxists were the ones that were being attacked by the last two regimes.
Yeah.
So those values came on it.
It's a Streisand effect in a way. It's the same thing. The Red Scare.
That's who got driven out. So yeah, coincidence. Israel's foundation has something to do with the Jews being driven out by the Soviets.
Yeah, crazy. Almost like Europe wholesale rejected them. Crazy how that works.
left Iran actually just don't like Iran. I really don't think the majority of the Iranian expats who dislike Iran are Shah riders. I think they just don't like the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel again like we're doing it again, right? This is an effort. It's like, oh yeah, the people who don't like the glorious, you know, humanitarian People's Republic of Iran. Well, it's because all of them simply long for the days of the Shah. You know, that's the only possible reason that they could feel that way. You know, never mind the fact that the Shah was literally like half a century ago, and that a significant portion of the people who have left Iran or who are within Iran and don't like the Iranian government would have to dislike them based on the behavior of the government itself and the Ayatollah. But you know, whatever.
Also, like even Patrick Bet David, who even says that he's anti-Shah, even though he is pro-Shah, even he is like, he doesn't say that he wants to go back to the Shah. He wants like a new capitalist democratic system.
Yeah,
over the Shah. He admits that the Shah was a monster and did monstrous things, and he's like, you know, totally not a Shah rider.
Iranian. You need to glass Iran, my friend. We want the monarchy back. Like that's the type of energy that you get. But
I grew up around Iranian Persian expats in Beverly Hills, Jews who fled Iran when it became a hyper radicalized Islamic theocracy. And they don't usually say stuff like, man, I miss the Shah. They usually say stuff like, you know, it sure was cool when Iran wasn't like controlled by Iranian theocrats. Maybe we could do something like that. I've never heard defense of the Shah from any of those people. It's more like, damn, it sure does suck how things turned out there. An opinion held by many people still in Iran.
Overall, most people understand, even if they absolutely despise their own current government, as I do for Turkey, they recognize that the American government's involvement is going to be far worse for the country's future.
Really, this again, like this is incredibly reductive. It genuinely depends. Like it massively depends. There are plenty of examples where American involvement with a country has actually helped to enrich it, like depending on the order of the country or like its associations. The Middle East, not so much historically, but there are examples where that has been the case for sure.
That's it. America's gravest mistake, which is not even a mistake, it's a deliberate attempt, but America's worst problem is that it has never allowed these countries to develop their own political movements without interference. That is an issue. So because of that issue...
Lacan, can you fucking tone it down? What the
a lot of these nations have become infinitely more reactionary as a consequence of that.
Not a single country on earth has been able to make its own political decisions unless you're talking about Russia, China, or America. Maybe Europe.
America had British interference the whole time. And now they have interference from other countries.
Like, to say that is insane. Like, there is no independent political systems. Everything has been tampered with by the global system. Everything is influenced by the global system. Like, that's such a dumb thing to say.
Western involvement, because everybody goes, no, don't touch that shit. What are you talking about? Now we can't even fight our own battles. I know this, once again, from Turkey. America's coup in Turkey literally gave Erdogan a lifeline and another 10, 15 years of mandate. It did. Erdogan directly changed the constitution by referendum, meaning a majority vote gave Erdogan the power to change the Turkish.
Wait, was this a U.S. coup?
No.
My understanding was that Turkey just likes having the military coup its government. They do it for fun.
Yes.
Was this a U.S. coup?
Vaush is more correct about Turkey than Hasan, of course.
2016 failed coup. Okay, so a minister said it. Does that mean it's true? The U.S. State Department said the accusation is wholly false. Is there any person who said it who isn't just this person?
No.
It's literally an Erdogan talking point. Yeah, real quickly. Why
one source.
What difference is there? They're like the worst, most belligerent member of NATO. They align more with like Arab states than they do with the West. Like, why does he dislike Erdogan?
Trash NATO member.
Soylu referred to some protesters as LGBT deviants, and Erdogan said on Wednesday there was no such thing as LGBT. Excellent. Okay, so Hasan is anti-Erdogan, but he's just decided to roll with the idea that Turkey's failed coup was American because
America bad, Vaush. Because America bad.
It's like an Erdogan talking point. Is there any more like evidence to this?
No.
Maybe there is. I'd have to look into it.
Constitution from a parliamentary system to a presidential one. In the aftermath of that coup, there was martial law instituted. This happens all the time. And Americans don't want to listen to someone who's actually from a country like this, or don't want to listen to someone who even looks like them, sounds like them.
Didn't Hasan just do a big rant shit-talking expats from countries like China or Iran? Wait, he literally just shit on diaspora. He literally just did that. How does anyone watch this? What? Like,
this is what I'm saying.
These arguments back to back like this.
Why are you copying what I fucking say?
America lived in America for 10 years plus, They don't want to listen to anybody. They just want to listen to whoever is going to tell them everything America is doing is actually good and righteous ultimately.
Yeah, like your fans watch you to just get told that everything America does is bad. Shut up.
I don't think I can get this across. At a fundamental level,
no,
I
because
do
you're
not
an
believe that
awful
America is
orator.
interested in the Middle East with honest and good intention.
I mean, if the honest and good intent, the funny thing is that what America is doing right now in the Middle East is probably actually the most upfront and honest thing we've ever done, which is we want to protect international maritime trade, so we're going to shoot you, which is what we're doing. That's true. I believe them. I think that's honest. Yeah.
That's it. I don't believe that. And I think there's enough historical precedent that backs this sentiment. I don't think it's
Iraq
good.
War.
America's involvement in the Middle East has always been bad.
Everything is like the Iraq War. Everything. Iraq War. Did you know that in the Iraq War, George Bush lied? Everything. Iraq War. Boots on the ground. Forever War. World War III. Iraq War. Government lies. Iraq War. Everything is Iraq War. All wars are the Iraq War.
Almost every other country that's outside of the Middle East and its involvement in the Middle East has always been bad. Russia included, or if you want to consider Afghanistan to be another part of it, I guess.
Afghanistan mentioned.
MENA region as well, even though it's Asia. One of the things is like there's not a lot of actors in town. There's regional actors that you can go to. If you're not going to be with America, then you're going to work with someone who's against America. And the regional actors that are positioned against America, more often than not, are going to be like Iran or
what if I'm a
Russia
teacher
or China? Does that make sense? You say America should not be happy.
Wait, no, it doesn't. And what Russian regional actors are we referring to exactly? Out of curiosity, what regional interests?
Honestly, the only country that's remotely pro-America right now is Ukraine.
Do you mean Ukraine? Because he just denounced Russia's involvement in the area, and if we're talking about foreign investment in the Middle East,
I'm talking about my country. Where are you from? You from Afghanistan?
I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry, I don't even understand. I don't know, man. I feel like this isn't going to top him uncritically reading Houthi propaganda from a person whose Twitter account just 3 hours ago put out an unambiguous JQ argument.
Their government wasting their tax money bombing the Middle East. Why do you dismiss the Yemeni chatter that doesn't want their Houthi government wasting their money bombing ships on the Strait? Beautiful question. Thank you very much. The Houthi government that you are talking about is utilizing resources that is getting from Iran.
At least I'm just glad it was mentioned. I'm glad Afghanistan was mentioned. I'm glad that's it. He didn't get into it. He just mentioned it and then moved on because anything he says about Afghanistan is not going to be intelligent. And there's like a lot, there's a lot of nuanced and arguments that plenty of people can make from different sides in Afghanistan as well.
But the manager at my gym, he's Turkish, and there was a guy, just a contractor there. And I was talking to him, and he stopped the contractor, and he was like, where are you from? Are you Hazara? And he's like, yeah, I am. I'm like, what the fuck? How in the world were you able to pick that out? I was just mind blown that someone was able to pick that out. Yeah, because I was floored because I only just learned about who the Hazara are. So I'm just floored by the fact that anybody else knew. But it's just apparently there's a massive diaspora in the town over from me.
Oh, interesting.
So that's kind of interesting.
It would make sense because Australia is closer.
But there's a massive Uyghur diaspora in the same town too, and around this area. All the sort of Middle Eastern and North African sort of people kind of go to that area for whatever reason. I guess that's just where the government placed them. I guess I'm not sure how the actual system works, how they get placed, but I'm not complaining. There's fucking good ass kebabs 20 minutes away. I'm not complaining. Afghan bread? Fuck yeah.
Traffic that is happening in its backyard. America is using our
it's the best part about being in a multicultural country is the food.
Yeah.
To go f those guys up 8,000 miles away.
What? What? Military spending is okay if it's close? What?
Bitches leave.
The point of NATO is that they can go far and trade is
That's
global.
it, Buster.
What does that even mean?
No more military aid.
It's international trade moves through the Red Sea. It's international waters.
What's this Pakistan one you added?
It's the same
Pakistan
one.
is threatening my border.
It's got Pakistan is threatening my border, and then that's it. Buster, no more military aid. It's a combo one. They can be split.
Bitches leave.
Just as international for the Houthis as America. They're international waters. That's the point. Do you think navies just hug the coast of the country they're from? Vaush, are leftists real? I don't know. I don't know. Man, every time I don't watch Hasan for a month or two, I think, man, I should probably stop having so many like mental negative associations. He's probably not as bad as I think.
No,
and then
it's
I see
always
anything he has to say
worse.
on foreign policy, and immediately it's like, wait, hold on, wait. This guy is literally like a blight on the Western left.
Yeah, he makes your foreign policy takes look good. It's crazy.
It's like literally every left online. I'm not even joking. I feel like I might actually be, in terms of large content creators, the lone ship in the sea, so to speak here. I genuinely don't know. Like everyone else, including like squad members, is you know.
What a wanker!
Wild. Now I'm the Juan guy. Yeah, Jesus. Please don't go insane like these people.
The Last Samurai, Vaush. The Last Samurai.
Because I have enough of a personality and like good enough takes and perspectives that I can sort of.
Oh my God.
Project my identity and my analysis.
What a wanker!
Like, you know, America bad or whatever. People say that I'm a good onboarding or intro leftism sometimes, but I don't think I am because that would imply that there's anything but me after this. But I genuinely think that if you look at most other so-called orthodox,
I'm fucking better than you.
Their takes are more juvenile and insipid than mine ever are, even when I'm feeling particularly spicy that day. Like you go to other content creators on the left, and like a lot of them, like, dude, listen to what we.
My brother, this is haram.
It literally is like America bad, America bad, America bad, America bad. Like there's nothing beyond that. You know, any argument from chat, he yells for 5 minutes, America bad. Like that's it. You know, it's juvenile. It's like an unwillingness to critically engage with the complexities of the world, which is, by the way, again, what made Karl Marx special. You think Karl Marx was the first guy to come up with the idea that workers are mistreated?
Garbage.
That idea goes back thousands of years. That's not new. There were slaves in Egypt who were like, yeah, man, I think like we're getting like the rough end of the stick here. You know, like that's not new. It's like intelligent, engaged, critical analysis that distinguishes like the leftist tradition from just, I don't know, campism or just like partisan bullshit, you know, whatever they end up falling into. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how this pans out.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd be getting a free beak washing, did you, buddy?
No, dude. The international waters that are close to your country, it's okay for you to waste dollars attacking civilians there. But international waters elsewhere on the planet.
This week, I authorized to deploy armed drones over U.S. soil, and the deaths of 3 other Americans in drone strikes.
H-Bomber Guy and Big Joel don't have any atrocious takes, as far as I remember. In fairness, they don't.
Can't believe he said that. That's crazy.
I know, unbelievable.
They're taking every like relevant issue. H-Bomber Guy's Dark Souls takes are trash. I've watched that video and no, I think they're pretty good. Man, I don't know. It's just kind of disappointing. It's very doomer. Again, I don't get any like enjoyment from the, you know, from being contrarian on this. It's just so much of the shit that I see from other people. It's just objectively wrong. They don't even know enough to like mount an argument to prove me wrong.
True. It's like everyone on Twitter.
I don't know. I think this is largely because sentiment around Palestine is really strong. Yeah, and a lot of people are like weaponizing that in an effort to attack Jews. Seriously, go on Twitter and look at the top trending posts involving Yemen, because there are a lot of people there who are unambiguously Nazis, and they're getting support from lefties too. A lot of horseshoe shit is happening.
They're what?
Hi, everybody. Actual Nazi here.
When the left is so incapable of engaging with these subjects that they end up agreeing with Nazis on stuff related to Israel, even if the Nazis are being disingenuous, the like Zionist argument of them needing to have their own like fortress country, like becomes correct because they've proven they can't have allies elsewhere. Like it's so. I am Turkish. Hasan talked shit about murdered 14-year-old Kurdish child by Turkish fascist cop while he was talking Turkish chatters. I'd have to see it to like believe it, but I would believe it, I guess. I don't know. Hasan will say, I have never in my life, not once, heard Hasan say any talking point that with regards to foreign policy that sounded opposite to America bad. Like I've never heard him able to articulate any argument that doesn't have that like that necessary aesthetic component. I'm sure he has, just, you know, as a matter of probability, he had to have done it at least some point.
Damn,
like, man,
they're cooking him.
I think he gave Joe Biden props when he helped Lula in Brazil, if I recall correctly. Sure, but even then, that's because of Lula, right? Like that's not that still is like okay, like Biden lucked into having a good take this time. It's not really like it's not a deviation from the aesthetic, you know, because it's always the aesthetic, everything aesthetic. Oh my god. Well, all right, we should probably cap this segment off. I feel like we're sort of
I'm fucking better than you.
No, it's not going to change anything. Like it's going to keep being as bad out there in terms of like people's takes. Somebody linked earlier. Hold on. Kyle Kulinski comes out.
Okay, are we watching Kyle?
Yep.
Wait,
it leads into the final video.
Sometimes they have to take it.
Breaking: U.S. starts illegal war with Yemen. This is why my sub count doesn't explode, by the way, because I can't do the kind of like sensational gonzo. You know, this would be like a video that gets me a lot of
Don't
views.
call that gonzo.
Illegal war,
please.
Joe Biden impeach, blah blah.
Don't ruin that.
I couldn't even get out of bed for this video.
We can try to block trade with you. So what happened as a result of that? Okay, the insurance rates for the ships in Israel went up. Sometimes they have to take a different, much longer route to get to Israel. Oh man, the horror.
Like one of the things that kind of upsets me is that the idea of people not understanding the importance of free international maritime trade is something like very, very frustrating.
He is
like,
right.
This isn't even like a left or right thing, you know. This isn't even like a
they don't want to
like
understand
leftist or fascist or liberal or any other issue. It's just an objective fact of the world. Understanding the importance of international maritime trade is as important as understanding like how the water and rain cycle works. It's like so. It's so fundamental, you know, everyone needs to know it, you know? So when people are like, oh, wow, you know, your Funko Pops arrived late, it's very frustrating. I don't know.
How terrible. But the U.S. would rather protect trade to Israel than
not trade to Israel. Their ships weren't going to Israel. They were just random ships.
Protect Palestinian babies.
Aren't you supposed to be a journalist, Kyle?
It's true that America doesn't give a fuck about Palestinian babies.
Maybe if, what were you making fun of him? Oh, maybe if you weren't reporting on Trump being a poopy pants man and actually did journalism, you might have a, you know, less stupid thing to say.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe.
Silvani was on a peacekeeping mission. I bet he did say that.
Mm-hmm.
Known peacekeeper.
Told Israel, hey, you've already been doing this for months. You can go ahead and wrap it up now. 28,000 dead civilians is enough. Bombing, you know, another hospital, another school, another UN building, another marketplace. Wrap it up. I think we got the point.
I agree that we should put a stop to what Israel is doing, but we also should put a stop to what the Houthis are doing. We can stop both, or, well, I suppose we can only stop one because America refuses to do anything about Israel. But we are doing something about the Houthis, so that's good at least.
I think the 12,000 dead babies is enough. If you wanted them to stop, Biden could have told them, no more money, no more weapons. We're
correct. Kyle's being correct. Kyle's correct.
Having wide-ranging consequences.
Rare.
Instead, what does he do? Pats Israel on the back, gives them a green light, tells them they're special and they're precious, and then decides to drag the U.S. into another Mideast war.
We're not dragging the U.S. into another Middle East war. Firing missiles into Yemen is not dragging us into another war. Everything compared to
they were bombs.
On their
behalf.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing this on Israel's behalf.
We used
the borderline anti-Semitic talking point.
You know, like, the Hornet and the Strike Eagle and the Typhoon was there too. The Typhoon was like, I'm helping. We sent the best goddamn ship in the U.S. Navy. All right, it wasn't just missiles.
Yeah.
Fully like the Jews.
There's attack helicopters too.
Like it's just not. They're threatening international maritime trade. Also, Operation Prosperity Guardian isn't just an American effort. It's literally an internationally led effort. There's a UN condemnation that happened right before we began firing. Like it's not just America, you know.
Yeah, almost like the Houthis did a big escalation.
Because
the UN confirmed it.
I keep almost saying Market Garden because that's the operation that I like have in my head more. Like it's the cooler name, you know.
To make stupid decisions, to do terrible things. But this is like a level above and beyond. This was 100 million trillion% avoidable. We don't need to be going to war with Yemen. We don't need to be bombing 10 cities in Yemen.
Going.
We don't need a hot war with the Houthis. And by the way, another really...
We're not. It's not a hot war. It's totally...
We've never had a...
We're
bro, what's funny?
Targets.
So I was looking... Because you know how the United States totally fought with the Houthis. Not against them. They did both, you know? Like, the reason why we have so much intelligence on these targets isn't because of fucking satellite imagery, okay? It's because the United States has been there and has seen what the Houthis have because they've helped each other. Just like they fought with the Taliban to kill ISIS before. Nobody wants to know, nobody wants to say it's true, but they've admitted it on both accounts, right?
Yeah.
So Intercept wrote this article and they couldn't put two and two together, but it's like why the U.S. soldiers in Yemen could be complicating the process on why they're delaying firing, you know? So it's like, we literally, like James, of course, you know, I'm just like, bro, we are going to have Black Ops alongside the Houthis by year end. Like, come on. Don't kid yourself.
Bunch of boots on the ground, but we're America, you know, we can just kind of park an aircraft carrier. It's the Eisenhower, right?
Yes.
That's who we've got out there? Yeah, it's the Eisenhower. Here we go. Okay. We're America. We don't need to put boots on the ground. We've got this plus about a half dozen other major ships. All we need to do is park these in the Red Sea and fire missiles and do airstrikes.
What's crazy is that eventually there'll be something better than it.
Yeah. Bigger too, probably.
Yeah. What's the next carrier program look like?
I have no idea. I imagine it'll look stealthy.
I don't know. That whole stealth ship thing, didn't they like scrap that shit because it's pointless?
Something like that.
Because even like stealth fighters, the whole like the Dwight Big D Eisenhower, that's what they should call it as the nickname, the Big D instead of Ike. Because it's like, yeah, we get it. His nickname was Ike, but this is the Big D.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be a much funnier name.
Attack from different directions.
Netanyahu was crying because they sent the other one back to Virginia that was off Israel.
We're not,
because we literally withdrew support. That's literally us withdrawing support.
Effort. We're not taking over cities or trying to hold territory or whatever. I don't support any of that bullshit. It is a big boat, though.
Important point.
Ship.
This makes Americans less safe.
It's a boat.
Because now
that's objectively not true. Well, it is possible that this like escalates into a broader thing that makes Americans less safe, but we're literally doing this to protect.
It's a big tugboat.
Some of that trade is American ships, so
you are begging for retribution and retaliation because the U.S. is doing Israel's dirty work for them.
Okay, this is literally just like the anti-Semitic talking point. Like this is the argument being made by Nazis on Twitter. It's not. Everyone, again, you can literally look at the UN condemnation or the people involved. Real, like everyone in the world wants a safe Red Sea to travel through. Like, come on, man, come on. I'm really sorry. I know that Kyle Kulinski himself is not anti-Semitic, or at least I'd be very surprised if he was. But like the idea that that this international effort, one which is not even being opposed by China or by Russia, is America doing the dirty work of Israel, is like, it is just the Nazi talking point. It is the one you will see Nick Fuentes making. That's really bad. Like, you know, you shouldn't.
I did not see that coming.
This makes us less safe. It absolutely makes us less safe. We are not a target.
Less safe. We're less safe. Be scared.
But you know what? When you keep sending
money, be very afraid.
And you keep greenlighting a genocide.
I mean, I do agree by our support of Israel, but you can't attack international maritime trade. You just can't do it.
Dealer that's giving Israel the addict their fix, and now you go and you bomb Yemen. I said it before. I'll say it again. The Houthis are correct.
So like the Gerald Ford they have one complete, but it's also it's going to take time. Like you need the F-35s fully deployed in the electronic fleet and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's supposedly going to be better eventually.
That'll be the next gen carriers, will it?
Well, we already have one, but you have to these systems still need to develop a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the drone system, the F-35 and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have the Stovall versions anyway, so the carriers might actually be the runway, the surface area for the runway may be actually shorter because it can take off shorter. They may not need a catapult system.
Well, I'm just saying that it will eventually surpass the other version.
Yeah.
The Nimitz class carriers.
Well, they've been around for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about fucking time.
Yeah, they've only built one though, so.
I wish I could make points like this. I feel like my job would be a lot easier, you know?
Absolutely. It should have been the UN that was doing that, right? It should have been the US if we actually cared about human rights, us doing that. No, Yemen, a super poor country.
Yeah, the UN, known for conducting strikes on countries. What are you talking about? This fucking idiot,
do the right thing
bro.
And step up, and now we're bombing them as a result of it.
They're not blockading Israel. They're just randomly attacking ships in the Red Sea. You can't do that, please.
Now, I should point out there are some reports that are unconfirmed as of this moment that they went after U.S. ships. So Crystal was telling me that just the other
day. No, they did. Wait, that's not unconfirmed. They definitely did that. Is that is that unconfirmed? I thought that was just being reported on factually, matter of factly. Of course they would. They absolutely did that, multiple times. The U.S. and UK ships in the area.
Today, we targeted a bunch of their drones. We shot down a bunch of Yemen's drones, the drones that they're using to police the Red Sea effectively.
No.
This guy is a fucking idiot.
Civilian ships. Dude, Kyle, the drones we shot down were en route to attack civilian ships. Those were drones. The Houthis don't police the Red Sea. They don't have patrols. They sent those drones out to attack. They're what? The police? They're attacking ships in international water.
Now, let's also remember, somehow even dumber of a take here because he's a journalist.
Yep. That's so funny. Like these people should not be
Dude
called
couldn't
journalists.
even get out of bed
Mm.
to make this video.
Yeah. Like I at least come to my computer. Like come the fuck on.
Now that they went after U.S. ships, we don't know the timeline of the events. So in other words, we don't know if the Houthis knew the U.S. were going to attack them, or the U.S. was already in the midst of attacking them, and then the Houthis started attacking the ships, or we don't know if
the Houthis attacked our ships before we shot them. However, we were definitely like always going to attack Yemen. So if you want to argue that they were engaging in some kind of like preparatory defense, I guess you could, but you know, they attacked civilian ships to begin with, so.
They attacked the ships in retaliation to us attacking their drones the other day.
No.
We don't even know for sure if they did attack the ships. There's just some unconfirmed reports.
They're not unconfirmed, and the drones that we shot down were on their
way to
attack civilian. We do know the timeline. This is the literal timeline. Yeah, we do know the timeline. This isn't like a kept secret. Whatever.
Wikipedia.
Boarded the Galaxy leader and sailed her to Hodeidah. Struck and damaged by an Iranian Shahed 136. Is that a drone or a missile?
Drone.
Munition autonomous pusher prop drone. I think that's a one-way drone.
Is this your first time hearing about these drones, bro?
The Shahed drones
with an anti-ship ballistic missile, then successfully with another. Minor damage. Minor damage, no casualties. Minor damage, no casualties. Onboard fires, another damage. Later, a UAV assessed to be heading for the Strinda was shot down by the French Navy frigate Languedoc. Initial hijacking attempted by skiffs, deterred by an exchange of fire from onboard security. This was followed by the launch of 2 or 3 anti-ship missiles with missed. Man, the Houthis suck. The assisting USS
the
Mason
anti-ship
was also
missiles are
targeted by
serious
UAV,
too.
which it intercepted.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the first attack against a U.S. vessel. Her owner is Ardmore Shipping, Bermuda. Israeli ship owner Aiden Ophir's EBS Ventures had divested its 1.9 million share stake months previously. Why is I guess Wikipedia is like providing the excuse the Houthis would use, but like at some point in the past, a partial stockholder of the company that owned the ship was Israeli, I guess. Had been ordered to Yemen by the putative Yemeni Navy, missile missed, beneficial owner Greater China Intermodal Investments.
Thanks for doing this research for us. This is
great. Fire damage, fire and other damage.
So true.
Turned around and exited. Wave attack.
Wikipedia is good for this type of shit, for like timeline and like condensed information and stuff. But
it's good to find links off website. It's good as like a hub.
I mean, it's like if you want to look at a timeline, is what I'm saying. Like, you can scroll, and they're good at the data tables that they'll take from other websites, like indexes and stuff. Sometimes it's easier to read the index in Wikipedia because the data tables will be like better and organized.
Yeah.
Mediterranean shipping company attack failure. Struck by a one-way attack UAV. No injuries reported. Several explosions near the vessel. No injuries. One successful missile strike. Minor damage. The next day, an attempted hijack. First direct engagement with Operation Prosperity Guardian results in 10 Houthis killed. First casualties in the theater.
Get wrecked.
At least 21 UAVs and missiles were launched, 18 of which were intercepted at, look at that, the USS Eisenhower Carrier Group. On the 11th of January, that's yesterday, oil tanker boarded and commandeered by commando 50 nautical miles east of Sahar, Oman. Last track headed towards the So hijacking, even just yesterday. Clueless. Today, we'll attack a carrier group. True.
That happened, but now that's almost certainly going to happen. And this is what we've been talking about, guys, how everything escalates out of control and the tit for tat, it turns into a massive
Be scared, guys.
Effect,
Be
right?
scared.
And so now,
listen tune in to Kyle's show every time to get your daily dose of fear. This is the media ecosphere fucking system. This is how it works. They get you hooked on fear and they get you back for more.
But Jack, if we don't get people hooked on fear, how will we ever get subscribers?
You watch us for real news, real stuff, actual.
You watch us to be tortured with us. That's what. That's
that
really
too.
all about.
That too. This is
fucking,
all.
You fucking masochists. You freaks.
This is all means to an end.
It's like wrestling, you know. The fans cry because it's like.
Then, Joe Biden and neocons and Republicans, all these people
look at that
and say, well, the Houthis are just a proxy for Iran, so this means Iran killed a U.S. soldier. Now we got to go to war with Iran.
What, man? It really feels like online lefties can't engage with any Middle Eastern foreign policy that isn't like everyone but me wants to go to war with Iran. We're not. Nobody's talking about this. We're just talking.
It was
about,
a few weeks ago.
bombing the Houthis to stop.
But it was like an article, and it was an opinion article by John Bolton, and it was said something about going to war with Iran. And I go, "What a John Bolton-esque thing to say! Who wrote this? Oh, John Bolton."
From attacking civilian vessels in the Red
I'm just
Sea.
gone to the
like,
next
where
video.
have we gone from this? Where are we at right now?
Yep, that's what they always say. The Houthis will be like, "We'll get you eventually." It's like, shut up, bro. You're high as fuck. Go do your fucking drugs, bro. Shut the fuck up.
Man,
like one of the.
See, now it's these
that kind of
see,
upsets
bro. We're ending on the real reaction.
We need to be on this side.
Well, we don't want to cover Vaush. There we go. That's reacception.
Hold on. I'll
I
fix
love
it.
the movie Kung Fu Panda.
Let me fix it for a second. Hold on.
Our mouse is coming to kill you. Look behind you, they're already here.
Boom.
Is that the idea of
We're
not
in it.
understanding the importance of free international maritime trade is something like very, very frustrating. Like it's this.
I
isn't
know,
even a
right?
fucking
I
nerd.
can't, bro.
of stopping a
I
genocide?
can't
Like, you're not-
wait to hear what Kyle is saying be filtered through Vaush and then recycled back by these people.
know how easily you could just turn that around on you, you moron.
Bro,
Somebody
these
linked
guys
earlier. Hold on.
definitely
How Kulinski
know
comes
everything
out
about
unequivocally
war
for
and stuff.
the Houthi
Oh,
pirate
for sure.
policy.
Sometimes they have to take it.
Top tier
breaking,
analyst.
U.S. starts a legal war with Yemen. This is why my sub count doesn't explode, by the way, because I can't do the kind of like sensational gonzo.
Bro, you literally look at the headline of this video. These are literal Nazi talking points.
Bro,
defend the Houthis.
you idiots.
And then he's saying,
You
I wouldn't
idiots.
stoop to this level.
This is a fucking cut from a live stream, you idiots. His editors put that, not him.
Making clickbaity, sensationalized headlines.
Yeah, he
Even
did
the
that.
sales is largely completely.
Yes, that's how you get clicks, you
Yes,
fools.
he did that. It was totally him and not the editor. That's
Jesus.
totally what he meant. You fucking idiot.
Accurate and honestly not even that sensational.
You know, this would be like a video that gets me a lot of views. Illegal war, Joe Biden impeached, blah blah.
And nobody's going to do anything to try to stop it. Well, let's do the bare minimum that we can and try to block trade with you. So what
He
happens?
just
as a result
owned
of
them
that?
in their own
Okay, the
thing, too.
insurance
Because
rates
he's
for the
like,
ships in Israel
legal war,
went up.
Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah.
Chad
This is
Kyle
what will
becoming
get me a lot of
Joseph's
views,
bed.
is this video. He
Alpha.
literally owned them.
What, hate it, like it or not, this is what peak Sigma performance looks like, Gavin.
Sometimes they have to take a different, much longer.
Are they
route
making fun
to
of
get
Kyle's
Israel.
appearance?
Oh,
I
man,
don't think
the
they make
horror.
Like one of the things that kind of upsets me is that the idea of people not understanding the importance of free international maritime trade is something like very, very frustrating. Like this isn't even like
You fucking nerd. Do you not understand the importance of stopping a genocide? Like, do you not know how easily you
Yeah,
can turn that
bro.
around on you? You fucking moron.
Yeah,
fucking
you
nerd.
sure did.
Shut the
You
fuck
got
up.
him. You
Maritime
turned it
travel is
around.
So important, dude.
You got
30,000
him.
people have been fucking extinguished. Far
Yes.
more have been injured. And are
That's totally
probably
what's
dead under-
happening in the Red Sea.
Yeah, that's definitely what's being spoken about.
It's fun. What's funny about this is like when the assault on Palestine started, right? Like not even the ground assault. I was saying it's a shame that people can't see that the killings in Armenia that just happened and the killings in Kurdistan that just happened are totally connected with Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow we can connect something that's so much more unrelated and make that about what's going on here. But we can't draw like the obvious line that like these three countries have been working together and like strengthening each other's fascism and dominance. And like Azerbaijan was like using the help of Israel and Turkey to like wage that genocide against the Armenians, while the Americans ended up having to come in and saying that they'll start training with the Armenians, even though it's not going to do shit because they're not going to stand up to Turkey and Israel because they're the ones who are backing Azerbaijan.
Rubble. 1 million people have been displaced, half of whom are children. A lot of whom are children who are never going to have fingers again, never going to see their parents again. The horrible story.
I'm aware
about this is you don't even have to explain this to Vaush. He knows. He's seen it. He knows exactly that there are fucking, women that have had to have C-sections without fucking any anesthesia, that there are kids that wake up with
Wait until you
burns
learn
all over
about
their
the
body. They don't know how to
Sichuan Syria or Sichuan Yemen.
Wait until you find out that this is a completely different country.
That's why I said wait till you hear about the blockade on Yemen that happened.
Crazy.
Wait until you hear how many people that displaced.
They don't know where their parents are. They don't know if they're ever going to see them again. How about the kids that wake up and they're under a foot of fucking
How about
rubble?
this?
They
How
can't
about
move
that?
anything, and their
How
limbs
about
are
this?
broken. And they're going
How
to die
about
like
that?
that. Oh yeah, and guess who got rich off of the fucking bombs that were used in that?
American
Guess who's only allowed to
industrial
drop those bombs
complex.
because we say so. That's on us. Oh, I'm sorry, a maritime vessel was sunk by a fucking group of radical fucking people.
Oh,
I don't
this is
care if they're
a
crazy. Guess what
okay.
makes me
This is
crazy? The
this
thought of
is
more dead fucking kids
this is a
than
hard one to say because
Mm.
with both these countries, they don't necessarily let out their true feelings. So I'm not saying that it's not possible that this happened, but I think Saudi Arabia is more upset that the war is happening because they were looking forward to the deal that they were going to be brokering with Israel, and it was going to be beneficial to them.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would say that Saudi Arabia, knowing what I know about the country, they're more frustrated that Israel is still doing this. Is like they're kind of like doing a wrap it up, which can be interpreted and twisted into you should be going hard enough to eliminate Hamas. So yeah, it's I'm not sure it's like the Oslo Accords. It's all the same thing. Oh, like the Abraham Accords. They're all a part of that, but it was like they still said they're open to the deal with Israel. And it was we even floated this as a possible potential side motivation as halting the deal with Saudi Arabia as being motivation for the October 7th attack. But Saudi Arabia won't make the deal right now because they won't get cool points for it. Saudi Arabia wants the cool points of making it look like they got the West Bank back. So, yeah.
In Gaza, I don't think it's that hard to comprehend, right?
The same thing. It's the same shit.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm getting a little too loud. I have to think about my neighbors. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta take a deep breath for a second. But I know what's so disappointing is I know in Vaush's heart of hearts, like as a commentator, he wants to give good political analysis. He wants to say the things that are true. And sometimes,
I agree here. He wants to, not necessarily does. But Zach on fire. Oh Jesus Christ! Where do we get these people backing us?
Vaush, I plead with you right now to understand that none of us think that the Houthis are based. It's not a W for the pirates in the Red Sea.
Whoa. Hasan does.
Vaush, yeah. Down with Vaush, up with pirates. My dude, it's about these people are desperate. They have been militant. Yeah, they're taking money from Iran. Why? Because Iran wants them to be able to fucking live. It's a whole political mess. I'm not saying that the Houthis are based, right?
That's
but what
Iran wants them to live.
Side that is correct against the genocide. And right now, for some backwards ass reason, you're defending maritime vessels. Say that out loud 3 more times, and then think about the fucking dead kids in the Gaza Strip. Okay?
Fuck your emotional arguments.
Oh my God, they have not. They're literally different
what
wars,
the population
bro.
of Seattle is. It's got to be a ballpark. It
One's
might
not
be
a
way over
war.
1 million people. I don't fucking know. I've never been there, but I'm curious what the population of.
It's actually not quite 1 million. It's like
okay, great. All of you and everybody that you've ever run into in the past entire time you've seen in your Seattle. Bye Seattle. Now it's gone. You're never coming back. Have fun.
Okay.
Like 25 miles north of Snoqualmie. Okay, that's where you're gonna be.
Great.
I hope you like cold winters.
No, I love that. I love that this is a huge rant saying that like this is supposedly what Vaush thinks. He totally is like doesn't care that 1 million people died.
Yeah, and the entire video has nothing to do with it. It's very cool.
Now these guys, they can't get their iPhones because some pirates in the fucking North Pacific, they decided to take out the shit. See how that's so bad? See, we have to displace you now. We have to keep I know you don't believe that, Vaush, but you have to understand that
it's humanitarian aid
in the fucking. See, it's the same thing. We got into a.
Where was the humanitarian aid Iran was putting in there when the siege was going on?
Yeah.
A bit of a fucking like spit back.
Oh God, they have the worst. See their face
because when
the platinum blonde hair is growing on me. You see?
Yeah, it's awful. It's really bad.
Where are these people for us?
Why are they watching these guys? It's probably because these people are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They need dumb content to fill their timeless, aimless existence on YouTube.
10-7 happened, he immediately starts playing into the hands of the most hysterical fucking commentators and mainstream media, talking about how these savages are just fucking running around.
You say hysterical
things, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, let's wait until we get all the information and not just hysterical stories, and then also let's understand what this is going to be used as, which is hysterical. To do basically the amount of destruction that the United States did in a place like Iraq. Okay, let's wrap our head around the fact that it's actually a much
Iraq
smaller
bad
area.
Iraq war. Everything is Iraq war.
So from a percentage-wise, the destruction that we're doing is unimaginable, right?
I meant the
When say
people
we,
to
I mean
watch
what
them.
Our taxpayers are fucking funding by allowing our government to continue to enrich their lobbyists and their fucking manufacturers, right? And the Boeings and the Raytheons and all the fucking companies that, you know, roll around in $100 bills like Scrooge McDuck.
Obviously, the people who watch us are
I just don't
very
understand it.
smart.
I don't understand
Dude
how you
just
get there. I
said the
understand that
people
he
who
doesn't like
roll around in $100 bills like Scrooge
Mhm.
McDuck.
Is this going to be another one of their fucking videos where they watch 30 seconds of it and then rant the rest of the time and then don't watch it at all?
These guys are like the most triggered people on earth.
Oh, they do play some of the video. Nice.
Okay.
And that Vaush is married to the idea that the United States has to be the global police force and that we have to maintain
Nope.
a flow of capital and open markets and all of this stuff. But it just seems like it's really divorced from humanity.
Breathe,
right now.
my guy.
A little
You're
bit
running out of breath.
You know, as Crystal Ball will point out, fucking babies on the ground in this situation.
Oh
little
my
children,
God.
Like, think about that for a
Breathe,
second. Force
bro.
yourself to. It's painful, right? And a little bit less about
When
global
somebody
fucking
think
commerce.
of the children.
Like a left or right thing, you know. This isn't
Congratulations, you
this
played
isn't
the
like
video
a leftist or
7
fascist
minutes
or
in.
liberal or any other issue. It's just an objective fact of the world. Understanding the importance of international maritime trade is as important as understanding like how the water and rain cycle works. It's like it's so fundamental, you know. Everyone needs to know it, you know. So when people are like, oh wow, you know, your Funko Pops arrived late, it's very frustrating. I don't know.
How terrible. But the U.S. would rather
that was like when you did the
trade
no
Israel.
iPhone thing. Haha. Maybe if you actually like watch the video, you know,
You
then
listened, yeah. Instead of going on a 7-minute rant on nothing, completely in the wrong direction, like a clown.
Not trade to Israel. The ships weren't going to Israel. They were just random ships.
Protect Palestinian babies who are being bombed on the regular.
It is true that America doesn't give a fuck about Palestinian babies. I'm not here to defend America's behavior with regards to Israel.
oh, look at that. Oh, did your 20-minute rant mean nothing because you couldn't wait 30 seconds?
28,000 dead civilians is enough. Another school, another UN building, another marketplace. Wrap it up. I think we got the point.
I agree that we should put a stop to what Israel is doing, but we also should put a stop to what the Houthis are doing. We can
Putting a stop to what Israel is doing would put a stop to what the Houthis are doing.
Not
Again,
true.
Oh, look, they're correct.
I don't understand this.
They
where he's
said
like,
one
we can do
correct
both.
thing.
We can stop Israel and the
Not
Houthis. No,
necessarily.
stopping
There's nothing says that the Houthis will stop.
Well, no. Yes, that's true. Now they've already had the recognition, right? But if the White House started being up in arms with Israel sooner, might have made an alternate timeline. Did you hear? Remember when Vaush said this?
بيت دار دار زنقة زنقة فرد فرد.
I do. Truly disturbing.
Well, you want to know what's crazy? How many people are at risk of starvation in Tigray right now?
All of them?
The ones that are still. It's like it's at 95 to 98% of the population. Way worse than Yemen.
Crazy.
Israel would stop the Houthis. If we, called for a ceasefire, if we forced Israel to stop bombing Gaza, then the Houthis would stop attacking these ships. They would.
I thought America wasn't the world police. How are you going to force Israel to stop? Dickhead.
Stop.
I mean,
trying to prevent this
they should have still stood up a long time ago.
No, of course.
Every day I get more shocked America still hasn't done something.
I just don't understand. It's not like a we can do both situation. No, we'll do one, and then that will directly lead to the other one happening. Why are you hiding the ball?
Stop both, or well, I suppose.
Bro,
we can only
I
stop
do not
one because
understand it. It
America
like
refuses to do anything
hurts
about
my
Israel,
brain.
but we are doing something about the Houthis, so that's good at least.
I think the 12,000 dead babies is enough. If you wanted them to stop, Biden could have told them, no more money, no more weapons, we're going to stop this.
Hey, look,
this
Kyle's right.
This is having wide-ranging consequences. Instead, what does he do?
We're the United States of America, for
gives them a
God's
green
sake.
light, tells them they're special and they're precious, and then decides to drag the U.S. into another Mideast war.
We're not dragging the U.S. into another Middle East war.
It's not a war.
Firing missiles into Yemen is not dragging us into another war. Everything gets compared to Iraq.
On their behalf.
I don't think Vaush really even understands like what the fear is. The fear is that
these
does
guys are just
become a
more
broader
elevated
war,
than
that
everybody
Iran
else.
gets involved, that America and Iran are actually at war with each other. Like,
Bro,
is that not the obvious fear? He's just,
Iran
acting
is
like
involved.
Kyle's
Iran
fear
was
here.
part of the ship attacks. Can we you know who made the best argument here? Is it fair that the Houthis are paying the full price for things that Iran did?
Yeah.
Right? You know, we have a law in this country called felony murder.
It's my favorite law.
Making up shit, but that's obviously the fucking implication, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna say the same things again. I don't know. It's hard because it's like, yes, Houthis bombing the
children
mercantile vessels or whatever. Is that gonna stop Israel? No, right? But it's like, it's kind of like an empty effort of solidarity, I would say. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're doing their best to just say, hey, like, we stand against this. Does that make sense? But then it's like it's almost like a test to see if it will entice Iran to back them up. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they keep getting their asses whipped in Yemen, then Iran is going to be like, oh, okay, well then we're gonna retaliate and bomb Israel. And then it's like there's already been bombing. I believe Hezbollah has bombed the border of Israel at this point, right? So there's already been escalations. I don't know.
We're not doing this on Israel's behalf. That's a borderline anti-Semitic talking point. Like, that's just fully like the Jews have like deceived the U.S. into.
I just don't. Do you understand how that's anti-Semitic to say? Like, how are we not doing it on their behalf? How are we not giving them what they want?
Jesus Christ, bro!
Which is genocide. I just don't understand that.
So basically, what Vaush is saying is that there's no correlation to what's happening with the U.S. involvement in Israel and the fact that we decided to retaliate and bomb the Houthis, and that the implication that there is anti-Semitic. He's just basically like fucking low effort in rage bait. It's like, this is anti-Semitic. It's like, no, it's not, dude. It's fucking talking about how the United States is 100% big partners in the destruction that Israel's doing. The Houthis are doing a dubious, fucking potentially self-interested, whatever you want to call it, attempt at raising more attention against this, disrupting trade, right? You could call it like terrorism. But it's like, do I equate the Weathermen and their terrorism with the United States fucking destroying doing the My Lai massacre, destroying the fucking region of Asia with the Laos and Vietnam and a lot of Thailand.
Okay, somebody just watched that second thought video.
That's essentially what it is. That's the analysis that I would put forward, right? And it's like saying, hey, we're putting up a
groundbreaking analysis.
Right? That's what the Weathermen were saying when they fucking did that kind of shit, right? I'm not glorifying revolutionary violence. It'll end up with you in fucking concrete box and the movement at a standstill because their leadership will be gone. Look at what happened to the black radicals. Look at all the people that we find inspiring, right?
Yeah, their problem was they didn't shoot first.
Political prisoners, or they were killed.
Houthis did, though.
I'm not saying
they did.
saying that it's the right call, but I'm saying that's where they're coming from, and it's so callous, and it's like,
be like Han Solo, shoot first.
Just like so indignant in America first.
The thing is, that's the thing. No, the Houthis were like Han Solo. They shot first, and then all these people went in and made it so that they dodged the shot, and then responded.
I'm not going to try to have any understanding of why these events are occurring. I'm only going to use it as a way of saying, like, oh yes, because this is how it impacts my country, and because this is how it's like self-interested, and because I grew up saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe that naturally
that's
the best country because of human rights or whatever. Even though we constantly violate every human rights rule in existence.
You nailed it. You're a genius analyst.
These things because
you should go for a job at the
even though I'm critical of
bro. Can you imagine like trying to just have a conversation with these two?
Oh, it would be a nightmare. You can't 30-second time skip them for fucking saying dumb shit.
Just like imagine me trying to explain things to him, and it's like, bro, I literally have people's like I can literally message somebody in these movements right now. Like I'm not just some dude on my fucking computer with a webcam like you, bro. Like I fundamentally know so many of these people, bro.
Yeah. All right.
But God, they are by far the dumbest. By far the worst.
They are pretty up there. It's quite impressive. They are truly skilled.
So this is, you'll hear me say this all the time, where people will talk about NATO and stuff. The whole point of NATO is to prevent Europeans from fighting each other. That's all it is. If it, like that's really like the vilifying of like America. Here's an example. When Imran Khan is ousted, the first thing he does is hold up a folded piece of paper. Where have we seen that before? And say, this is the evidence I have to show that, this is all somebody else's fault. It's America's fault. And that's the thing is that America benefits from this as well. So when a dictator blames the U.S., right, it makes the U.S. look stronger, and it makes it look like they have more power than they actually do, because there's a genocide going on every side of the Atlantic where our influence ends. There's a genocide going on. So it makes us look way bigger than we are, but it also helps those dictators by having a constant scapegoat. It's a not a parasitic, but what is the other one where they actually like benefit from the like parasite? Biology term. That's
Yeah,
one of those.
I know
terms.
what it is, but I'm slipping on it.
Did you know that the male anglerfish is a parasite?
Really?
Yeah, so like it's literally just testicles and eyeballs. So the male
What a vibe.
anglerfish, they're like real tiny, and they just
Okay.
so most anglerfish hatch as male. It's like 90 to 10, right? So
Okay.
they just become little like plankton specks, the males, right? And they'll attach to the female, and they'll basically feed off of her. They'll get a blood supply from her, and eventually just be completely absorbed into her body, and she just the sperm to fertilize her eggs.
The ultimate feminist goal.
Yeah. Isn't that fucking hilarious, bro? They literally just get testicles from a man, and that man is like absorbed into him and like stops existing almost. Yeah, okay, sure, we could say Imran wasn't a dictator. I just meant dictators in general. Just like, you'll see them all do it. I think that's just a good example because everyone saw that because it was so sensational when that happened. And a lot of people it's a good example to point to because other ones, people might not know about that one. Anyway. What are we signing out with, Jack?
Let me pick one.
I got one.
No, I got one. Don't touch it.
David.
God damn it.
I mean, I know you're a sophisticated guy.
You must
This
have
one.
known you were wrong
Oh, God.
when your fingers were dipped inside me, searching for honey that would not come for you.